Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. As long as it's all good, we want to welcome you to the House That Happens, sponsored by Shuey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in Toronto. We kind of think it's probably the best dive bar in the city because when you're here, we keep the vibe alive. Hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And we're here to talk about the insidious, iconic, and insane things that have happened in this crazy world of sports. How was your week, buddy?
It was a good week. I mean, could do without the snow that we got this week, but...
Can I say one thing? I just want everyone to know that is listening right now in the House That Happens, and I know you're helping me build a mansion. Every snowstorm is not the storm of the century. Can we stop that, please? Okay, last night we had a little bit of snow. We're late starting on our show today because of some shoveling and stuff, but this was probably the biggest one of the 3 that was supposed to be our big catastrophe snows.
Oh, this was a dumping.
This was a dumping. Okay, so I'll give it, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give it about a 7. But I don't think we should shut the city down.
No,
This
isn't.
Bring out the army.
Yeah, exactly.
They sent me home.
Mayor Lastman.
Yeah, they sent me home from work early last night because I do work afternoons. And I looked at my boss and I said, you know what you're doing? You're making me drink earlier. That's all you've done. You've just given me time to drink earlier.
Didn't you get the mandate 2 drinks a week? That's it?
Oh, that's right. So I'm good till about 2048.
I don't even want to think when I go down to Mexico in August how many months I'm going to be, how many weeks I'm going to be drinking for there.
That should be an adventurous time. I hear Mexico is always fun.
Cancun, baby.
That's it. But the real fun this week was in the world of hockey. We had the trade deadline, and what was it believed to be? More trades in this time span than they've had since, 2007 or something?
Yes.
2017? I don't know what the date.
In the 15 days up to and of the trade deadline, 62 trades, I believe.
62.
And a lot of blockbusters.
Oh, yeah. No. We're going to allude to all of that because it's really a shame, though, because the big networks yesterday have their all-day trade deadline. And I said, waking up, I said, this is going to be awful to have to fill in that much time doing nothing because all the trades are basically made.
Basically. Who was the biggest name that moved yesterday?
The Ricci brothers?
Ricci brothers,
the
yeah.
Ricci brothers.
Who else? There was was Max Domi, would that have been? I think that was the morning of.
Oh, it was morning. Where did Domi go anyway?
Dallas.
Oh, right. That could be a good pickup for him.
Could be. I like Max Domi.
Yeah, and it could give them a little grit that they needed. And I'm going to get to Dallas in a bit because I think that they're a bit of a dark horse out there, even though it's position because nobody's talking about them. But since we are the House That Happens and we do keep Habs on the tabs, on the Habs, we have to get away from that for a minute just to say we have to talk about the beloved Toronto Maple Leafs and the massive changes they've made to their team during this trade deadline. What do you think?
I love it.
Really?
I love these moves that they made. Like the Ryan O'Reilly one, that was one of those things, like when I saw it, I'm like, I couldn't believe it.
Okay,
you know?
Okay, that is good. We've discussed that, and he's fit in really well, especially his two-way play. His two-way play, and I agree tonight. I think you said before the show that he's actually going to play. He's going to be a third-line center
tonight,
which is what his actual job was to come. They wanted a third-line center, and they put him up.
Yes.
I guess they put Tavares on the wing to give him a chance to score some points or feel good about the team because I think that Tavares sometimes gets lost on this team sometime, and his value is more than people realize. You know what I'm saying?
Especially these last couple seasons.
Yeah, and he's still a solid two-way player. Like every time you're out there, the other night again in the Calgary game, I thought he was one of the best players on the ice. It didn't show up in the scorecard, but I mean, as a two-way player, playing back and forth with Matthews doing the same,
he did okay. But that Matthews-Marner line, that was the one that really stole the show on that Calgary game. They were flying.
Oh, and they should have had more goals. And I really like Bunting on that line. I like him a lot. I think they should leave that there, but I'm gonna there's two things.
Bunting's stapled to Matthews.
Yeah, it is. And I like that because he's the guy with a little bit of grit. Matthews,
a little bit of that edge.
Yeah, and I think that they should stay together. But the thing that I find interesting about the Leafs is that they've made some wholesale changes where I'm starting to believe that they were on their way to, say, a 110-point season, okay?
Okay.
They started the game the other night. You dress 18 skaters. Okay? Mm-hmm. Every night you dress 18 skaters. The other night they had 6 new guys on the team. So at this point in the season, you're trading 1/3 of your team. What does that say about the structure of your team if you had to move that many guys?
Like, what are you saying? Like, going forward, what's the
Okay,
outlook?
let's, for example, Liljegren got hurt, and he might not be playing tonight, okay?
He won't be playing tonight.
Okay, so now, and he got undressed by McDavid in front of the whole world the other night, and I did a little video. I shouldn't have done it to embarrass the guy, too, but that's not the point.
Well, that was for private use.
Of course, I didn't let the general public see it. That's strictly for our files, but I'm looking at it like this. There's a certain chemistry that goes with a team that makes you go forward, and I think the Leafs had some really good, solid chemistry. Maybe they weren't tough enough. Maybe they need a little bit more in the back end. But are they going to be able to have enough chemistry put together in the next 20 games to give them that drive in the playoffs?
I think so, because they really just kind of made moves kind of along the edges, right? Like,
you really think so? Like,
all the core guys are still in place.
Those core guys are always,
and like those are
there.
your pillars. And I think whatever. Like, these guys, they know, like, they were obviously brought in because they can play the system. I'm not really too concerned about it. They got 20 games to get these guys accustomed and, I don't know, I guess comfortable.
Well, I think
I'm not concerned.
We're gonna get this back when the Leafs lose in the first round, because I'm gonna pull it back. I was the guy that always said I think they're gonna make it to the conference finals. Now I'm not quite sure because of the moves that Tampa Bay made, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Oh, really? Okay, we'll have to talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that in a minute. The bottom line is I'm always of the belief that I think that you should make if you have let's say if you're building a house. And you got the house almost built, and you're going to have an island in the kitchen. Okay. And all of a sudden, at the last second, you say you're going to rip out the island, you're going to put in an 8-chair seat, and the ceiling's going to be made of oak, and you're going to have a granite counter. Like, you're almost done the house. What made you decide to do that? So I'm questioning this. They said they needed a little bit of grit on the back end. Some toughness. And I agreed with that.
And on the bottom six.
And on the bottom six. Okay, I agree with that. I think that the bottom six was just as strong as what they got. What's the guy's name? Acceleri? The guy they got? Achari, whatever his name is. He's shown a little grit out there. I agree. Yeah. But I think that the Kerfords and the Camps, they deserve to be out there more, and they should get the recognition, because without those guys playing this whole season, the Leafs wouldn't be in the position they were in, correct?
Yeah, but those guys are still playing the same roles, Kerfoot and Camps.
I think they're getting a little bit less. You know what I mean? So what does that do for the confidence in the dressing room? If you came this far and all of a sudden, I
don't know, but Kerfoot maybe, but Kampf, I think he's still in that same role. He's especially on the penalty kill. Like, him and Marner are like the first guys over the boards.
Okay, I'll give him that. I will say there. But they traded. What they're saying is, like, the everyday guy they traded, Engwall or whatever. I thought he was a significant part of the team.
Yeah, but he didn't play with enough edge. That was for a big guy. I think that was the frustrating thing. And I don't know. He would score like in the regular season, but in the playoffs, like his scoring touch was just like off. I don't know if you noticed that the last couple of years.
I don't know, but does that mean that the guys that they brought in, like Lafferty and then Sillery, whatever, they're going to be getting the big goals in the playoffs when you need them?
I think they play that kind of style. Like, Lafferty gets in those dirty areas.
Okay, I understand that, because sometimes you need a guy to go in the corner to do things, but I think that the Leafs' forte is speed.
Those guys can skate, though. Especially Lafferty.
Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I really believe we're going to see. We got 20 games.
Yep.
To see them make up this. And it doesn't matter what we're talking about. We're talking about fringe players now. If the Toronto Maple Leafs do not win a playoff round, it's going to fall on whose shoulders? Matthews.
The big boys.
You got it. Because if your big boys don't show up in the playoffs, what are you going to do? Now, I heard an interesting scenario. They played Tampa Bay in the first round, okay?
Yeah, pretty much a guarantee at this point.
Okay, that's a guarantee. The series goes 7. They win 3 games, 6-something. But in the other 2 games, Vasilevsky stops 45 shots, and the Leafs go home. Is that a failure?
If they lose in the first round?
This is yes. Tampa Bay. This is Tampa Bay. This is Tampa Bay 3 times in a row going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
This is a weaker Tampa Bay team, though.
Says who?
Says me.
Okay, then I'll give you the benefit of a doubt on that. But okay, so now we're going to go into the playoffs. The boogeyman's going to be in the room. Definitely, because Tampa Bay, and you know what I really hear too, and I think this is one of the most stupidest takes ever. Oh, Toronto has to beat Tampa Bay.
I do think they have to beat Tampa Bay.
Why? Well, let's look at it this way.
Cruz, how many times can you go into the playoffs and lose in the first round?
Then you're just not good enough. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, that's you have to win. Otherwise, then the heads will roll.
Okay, I know they're going to roll. Let's not cut to the chase. If they lose to Tampa Bay in the first round again this year,
that's a failure.
Okay, but I'm going to say, thank God I'm not a Leaf fan here. I keep tabs on the Habs. Let's keep that straight. So we're not going to be keeping a lot of tabs on them today. But I look at it this way. I thought Toronto had a pretty solid team up till now. And when the trade deadline came, I thought they should add some pieces. Okay, one of the things I thought they should add is some grit on the back end, and maybe a Lafferty on a forward would be good. I think they're going to be. Personally, I think they're going to miss that Engwall guy in the playoffs because of his speed, the way he played. You're going to say not. You say that Lafferty and the guy will make.
He would always shy away from him and Sandy. Like those were guys that would shy away from the moment when you need them the most. They're like, oh, not me. You can't have those guys in the playoffs.
Listen to this, and we got the die-in-the-wool Maple Leaf guy sitting across from me. Really, you sent those guys out of town, didn't you?
I personally called up Dubas. I'm like,
said, get rid of them,
Kyle, buddy, they got to go.
Oh.
They got to go.
I'm saying this. I hope Sandin doesn't turn into a Steen move. Remember when you guys let Steen go?
That was completely different, Sturcom. That was just
that was the same thing. He said he wasn't tough enough.
No. That was a bad trade from day one.
Of course it was.
Because we got Stepniak, a third liner. We trade away Kolyakovo and Steen. Like, Kolyakovo was like, what, a third pair of D?
Yeah, he was.
But, like, the point is, like, you traded, like, way more value than you got back.
But at the time, it wasn't said so because, really, Kolyakovo was supposed to be the
What are you talking about? That trade was questioned from that day.
Okay, I never thought it was right.
Because people are like, who the hell's this Stepniak guy? And we're looking at his stats, and we're like, he's not that great. And, like, I don't know, Steen, I love Steen.
Okay,
I love Steen.
But the guy that St. Louis really wanted in that trade was Kolyakovo because they needed the extra defense. If you go back and look at that trade,
I know.
Kolyakovo was the guy they wanted more, and at the time they were afraid they weren't going to be able to pay Steen, and they weren't sure if he was going to show up.
Well, the whole reason was that he wasn't a Ron Wilson guy.
Yeah, he wasn't tough enough. He didn't have that.
Well, Ron Wilson wasn't. It was more like Ron Wilson like skating teams. Like Steen wasn't the fleetest of foot. He was kind of like known as more of like a two-way.
Agreed, but he had touch. Anyways,
he did.
He had touch, and that's what taken. He
wasn't the speedster that fit the system
that Wilson wanted. And notice how'd that work out for Ron Wilson? Where is he now?
They should have hired Joel Quenneville.
Oh, at the time they did, but they did. That's another story. In any event, my take on it is this. I think the real failure of the Toronto Maple Leafs is that they didn't go to Columbus and they didn't take that goalie and they didn't take that defenseman who went to L.A. And now I'm looking at L.A. completely different. And not only that, what's his name? The Russian Graskosov. They gave him a 2-year extension off the hop, too.
Who are you talking? Oh, Gavrikov.
Gavrikov, yeah. They gave him his 2-year extension off the top. Couldn't the Leafs afford that?
I mean, but like we got Jake McCabe, and like Chicago's retaining half his salary. We got Lafferty out of that too. Okay, but I'm saying in the long run, we're talking down the road now. The Leafs gave up 9 picks in this trade deadline, and they got 6 back, I believe. But they gave up more high end drafts and got more low end back. Now, it was a clever move to get the first round pick of Boston back in the trade. Yes, I love that.
That was a very good move because one of the things we'll talk about down the road is how far do you franchise your team for one season to sell out on the future?
Like what Tampa Bay did?
Yes.
So I want to get that a little bit later. There's a few more Leaf things I want to get to first.
Okay, go ahead. Let me see what you're going to say. You really think this? So I want to notice that today is March 4th, 2023. And I'm taking notes of everything that Mr. Milani is saying about Toronto and what's going to happen in the playoffs because I'm going to put his feet
I'm not going to make any bold predictions. I just want to let you know about my takes about how the lineup is, basically.
Okay, let's hear this.
So number one, with Sandin gone, it looked like Liljegren is going to be power play number 2 guy. I love that.
Okay.
Because I think he's more than capable of that role.
I think that he's going to be the guy that his nose is going to be at a joint. That's my prediction, but continue.
D pairs. So I was concerned about the Riley Hall pair being a thing, but then it looks like they're playing Riley Shen as a pair tonight. I think that's a lot better.
Oh, 100%.
Play Hall with Giordano. Those two fit a lot more. McCabe, Brody. I think that's an interesting pair as well.
I think it's very interesting, and I'm saying that. Who's going to be carrying the puck out more, Brody?
No, because he's on his offside.
So you think McCabe is a good puck carrying defenseman? I don't think so. I think that they're a great pair.
I think that's going to be more of like the
lockdown pair.
Yeah.
They're going to be out there against the best forwards on the other team. That's how I look at them. I think Brody's
I don't think McCabe's a problem moving the puck, though.
But you know what I'm saying? Anyway, it doesn't matter. Like Toronto's transition game, and I think Sheldon Keefe should be getting a little bit more credit for his coaching this year than he's getting. Because Toronto does play in a unit, and the Calgary game showed to me that they've still got that. You know how that defense moves in 6? You know, I've been talking about all year, all the teams, the defense moves in 6 and they go on. I don't understand the concept of them bringing 7 defensemen in because they're never going to use 7 defensemen in the playoffs. And you know
why not? Tampa did it.
Not all the time. The whole
they used it a lot, though.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. Those 2 years that they won the Cup, they played 7D a lot in those games.
Okay, then so let's look at it this way. That means that the forwards are going to get more time. So that what you're saying is that you're going to lean on the Matthews, Mariners, Tavares, Nylander guys more.
Yeah.
Because that fourth line is going to be pretty well mute. You know what I mean?
Well, I wouldn't say that they're going to be like held out, but like they're definitely going to
No, because what that tells me is my original thing about chemistry. These guys help the team get to the position they are all year. Now they don't even have 12 forwards. So 2 guys are going to be sitting on the bench way more than they were sitting all year. And to me, that's a little bit of like disrespect.
But here's the thing though. Like the way that's not really how it worked out the other night against Calgary. It was more like
get the guys in the uniforms. I thought that's
well, it was not even that. Just like Keefe would kind of like put the more the period went on, like the line just kind of went in the blender. You know, like the ice time was like I thought it was like pretty well distributed.
Balanced at the end.
Yeah, it was balanced. I don't think guys' ice times like the Kemps and Acharis and Kerfoots of the team. Like I don't think their ice time like fell off or anything. If you look at their Tavares, actually, if anything, like maybe like the Tavares line got the short end of the stick.
A little bit, only because of that. There's a few penalty situations.
Probably
which takes away your time. But I did notice that they put that on at the end of the game, and it seemed to be well balanced. But that's not my point. My point is this is 20 games left in the regular season. I want to talk about Game 6 in the first round of the playoffs. That's what I want to talk about because then we're going to get there. And what do you got then? Okay, you're going to have 7 defensemen then? Okay, if you're going to have 7 defensemen, someone's nose is going to be at a joint. Is it going to be Liljegren, a guy who's played pretty solid for you all year? At one point in the year, and we go back and check the tapes, I thought your best duo was Sandin and Liljegren for a while. When Riley
I think
was
you're a little bit nuts for saying that.
But they were winning. They had that winning streak. Who was the number 1 pair? Riley was out.
Giordano was the number 1 guy.
He was just out there with Brody, and Brody got hurt too, and then Muzzin never came back. Because Giordano has been just a revelation this year. That's a guy that gives a demonstration about. We discuss this right here in the House That Happens in Shuey's Bar and Grill, and it's great over-the-bar talk, which is regular guys that are coming in. Whereas Giordano came to Toronto because he wanted to play in Toronto. He didn't take $1 million, and he's playing hard.
Yeah.
He loves being in like Tavares plays that way too. Do you think Austin Matthews has that love for Toronto? He's from goddamn Arizona.
Yeah.
Okay, so they don't win this year. Is Matthews moving on down the road? That's what you guys got to worry about. If you don't
agree.
Win, I don't think.
I still think if Toronto gives him the bag, I think he stays along. But they have to prove that they can win.
They lose this first round of the playoffs. I just want to. I'm giggling already just because. For all the bar owners in the GTA, that's who I'm hoping Toronto wins for. Business. Yeah. You know what I mean? And all those Portuguese, Italian, and Ukrainian housewives that have to suffer the plague of their husbands when the
God. Why do you always got to take it there? We're never going to get a sponsor with talk like that.
Okay, sorry, I slipped on that. But it's so true, guys. Come on. You know what it is? Because what happens is, let's be real about talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs. I say when we watch shows on TV in Toronto about the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's filtered. There's a lot of stuff filtered. There's a lot of things like O-Dog wants to say that he doesn't because he's a Toronto alumni. That you would hear in a bar that you would never hear in like on the House That Happens. We're free to say it until we get sponsors. And one of the things that we're saying is if Toronto doesn't play with grit and Toronto doesn't get up and stand up and do it, it changes the mood of the city. There's no doubt about it. You know what I mean? Look at last year when they lost. I got my thumb damaged after a concert downtown because a guy ripped my hand so loud because I was making fun of people crying. It ruined my golf season. I told that last year. Got my thumb ripped.
I didn't know that was why.
Oh, yeah. It was the night we thought about it. I mean, it was one night of the 2022. It was a night. I'm not a big drinker. That night I drank a little too much. And then we walked out downtown Toronto at Massey Hall, and I seen that blue shit running down people's faces. What do you think I was thinking? With my son, who's not a Leaf fan either, like, you don't think we were agitating a bit? So anyways, the guy went to grab my hand, and he shook my hand, and I was laughing. I remember he twisted it, and I didn't think about it that much because, alcohol does that. But when I got up in the morning, I was off work. I was off work for a month. I couldn't grab a machine. But my point being is, I know that's kind of a terrible way to look at it when you're talking about when you include people involved in sports. But isn't that why sports is popular?
Yep.
Because people are so dedicated. They're so passionate. Like, why do we do this show? Because we're passionate about sports. So what I'm saying is this. People should be honest about it. If the Toronto Maple Leafs do not win a first-round playoff series this year, I'm scared to see what the temperature city's going to be for about a week. And you know it. What about you yourself? Okay, here we go, people. This is on tape, March 4th. Cruz at being his hater best. Just pointing out that my partner across the table from me, he just went white when I said to him, what if they lose the playoff round this year? His demeanor changed. People, look at Andrew Mullaney right now. Demeanor has changed dramatically just because and I'm cheering for you guys to win.
No, you're not. That's a goddamn line. You know it.
I'm hoping you
I'm
win.
not how can you, like, in the same breath, I'm not a Leaf fan, but I'm cheering for you guys.
I am. I just told you. I hope all the bar winners, all the bar owners are here. So I'm saying this. I'm hoping you guys win, and everybody out there, because I know that I'm going to hear it on one of my other chats. Cruz, quit talking about the Leafs. We're talking about the Leafs.
I get to talk about the Leafs.
Of course we got to talk about the Leafs, but they don't like the way I talk about the Leafs sometimes. Why is that? Aren't I being positive? Aren't I being like anything I could be? I'm just saying this. They should have taken an extra goalie.
No.
Okay, now if Murray comes out and plays great, you're good.
Sure.
Okay, so he went on the road and he didn't play at first, but they brought him on the road so he's off the list. So that means that the Wall kid went back down and they covered him on the salary cap. Because the big thing about Murray was, and maybe why they didn't make extra moves, is because of his money.
Salary, yeah.
Okay, now let's give Dubas huge credit for the dances he did with the salary cap, especially like you're saying, the McCabe thing, Chicago maintaining that much of the salary.
Yep.
The little move he made with Minnesota.
Yeah,
on the side.
We're paying 25% of Riley's salary.
There you go. So I'm saying, just when you think about Riley and McCabe, you're not paying full price for those guys. So what everyone says about Dubas and being a young guy and what does he do? In this day and age, you just can't be a player guy. You have to be a numbers guy.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And the way that he's danced with the numbers, I think, is more than commendable. Where he's upgraded the team. But with you guys getting the playoffs, I'm going to say one more time, is it a failure? You lose, okay, I don't want to say that. Sorry, fans, don't get mad at me, but I'm just hypothetically saying, if Toronto loses in 7 games in overtime against the Tampa Bay, and they win their 3 games 6-4, 6-3,
we've been through.
6-2,
why are we spinning our circle? We've been through this. It's a failure.
So I'm going to ask you then: is it a failure?
You know my answer. Why are we going back to this?
Everything's a failure then. Okay, so we're on the House That Happens says the Toronto Maple Leafs does not get out of the first round this year is a massive failure.
Yes.
Okay, I'll live with that. I mean, I'm not going to lose any sleep on it. We're in the die for Bedard sweepstakes. But any event, we're talking about Tampa Bay. What was your take on that?
I just want to go back to the goalie thing with Toronto, but like I wanted Korpisalo, but then I mean, I guess him and Gavrikov looked like they were a package deal to LA. So I mean, maybe it just wasn't in the cards.
I guess so too, because not only that, they re-signed him for 2 years. So that must have been
I guess we can move on to Tampa. Wow. Look how many draft picks they have this year. Not many.
Okay, that's going to be a subject for another time because
I think we have to talk about that. Like they mortgaged their future.
There is no future in Tampa. Are they going to be the next? Are they going to be like Chicago and LA in a year or two?
I was talking this with one of my buddies. I'm like, didn't they learn from like from the Chicago and LA mistakes?
But if you get the chip, is it worth it? They got 2.
They're worse this year though. They lost some big guys.
Oh, I know they did, and they pulled that stunt with Kucherov to get around the salary cap the year ago. Remember, they kept on the injury list forever. That was sneaky good, but
that wasn't in the cards this year.
No, they couldn't do that. They're on the same level playing field as everybody else. But that is a huge question, and anybody out there, we're going to have a round table on that. Maybe after the season's over, maybe after the playoffs thing, and we'll talk about every team. Is it worth it to mortgage? Is one chip worth mortgaging your future for years?
Because I would say no, because there's no guarantee you even get that chip, right?
Oh, but if you do.
That's a big if.
Okay,
that's
so now the poster child for both this issue is the LA Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks. Okay, so Chicago
I was thinking about it. Like, did Chicago, like, I mean, I guess they just kind of mortgage their future with how they handle the salary cap. I guess that's just the big thing, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And look at the guys around the league that played for Chicago in those days, and the guys that they had to let go at their time.
A lot of big names.
Yeah, that are solid players, and now they've got nothing. But I mean, it's quite obvious they're going to end up with Bedard, and that's a big market team.
That's not obvious. There's a lottery.
Well, a lottery. But
And
I'm
like,
saying,
let's say hypothetically it's fixed. They're
now
never.
Montreal gets it. We get it.
Well, I'm just saying they're not. They're definitely
tabs on the abs.
they're not, but they're not giving it to Chicago. Is my point. They've been bad for business.
That's a good point. When we got the sexual assault stuff and all that, and they fired Bowman, you got a good point.
Uncle
there.
Gary's not happy.
Oh no, he's not happy at all. You know what I really think is outrageous is that I'd like to be in a room when someone says, "Well, they're sending tanks to the Ukraine." I bet you he gets angry because you hear when he completely different from the commissioner Adam Silver in the NBA, who's a pussyfoots with the players, but that's another story. Batman does not. One thing I like about hardcore, he comes out, he talks about the integrity of the league.
Yeah.
In a big way. And he doesn't cater to players as much.
Nope.
You know what I mean? He's a guy that says this is like every game should be integral. Which I agree, but we'll get to another subject too, as opposed because there's no real load management in the NHL, really. I mean, at times it is. Yes and no, a little, but not under the degree that you would be able to say the NBA is there. But my point is this: if Tampa Bay has now been to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 years in a row and won 2 cups, now this is going to be a very interesting first round because we know who we're playing, and I'm not going to beat this horse anymore, bro. I promise. I won't bring it up. I won't say what's going to happen, but it's staring us in the face.
Oh, yeah. It's been staring us in the face since November.
Okay, so there you go. Which gets to me, this opinion before we're gone. We'll get to this after we look at some other teams because I do want to go back to the let's look at if it went from 1 to 8. We'll discuss that in a minute. But I think that Tampa Bay has got enough to get them there due to the fact that they still got Hedman. Yep. They still got Vasilevsky. Steve Stamkos is still playing great hockey.
This is their last chance, I think, too, because like next year a bunch of guys are getting paid. Cirelli's salary goes up. Sergachev's salary goes up. Cernak's salary goes up.
Braden Point.
Same contract, but I mean he's already getting paid.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. And Kucherov, he's got one more year. He's going to want an extension, I hear.
He's going to be paid for a while. Stamkos is on the last year of his deal next year.
Is he? Oh, is it Stamkos is on last year's deal? So that means that Stamkos will be playing in Toronto. He'll be coming to Toronto. Can I start that rumor?
I was going to say he's not going to be taking the quote-unquote hometown discount in Tampa, I don't think.
His daddy's rich. Mama's good-looking. He should be just fine here in Toronto. He'll be sitting back in Richmond Hill. It'll be just a commute in his Lamborghini to the game, and he should be just fine.
Where's this coming from?
I don't know. I'm just saying that.
He's staying in Tampa.
I don't want to scare you about the Tampa Bay-Toronto first-round thing, but I think that if Tampa Bay were to win the Stanley Cup this year, they wouldn't give a damn about their future because they'll have time to rebuild it. I don't know when.
But they're in a market, though, where, like, you think those fans are going to stick around? As
long as the more Canadians keep going down there to retire, they got to fight.
Yeah, but to watch a crappy team?
They will be crappy. I think they got what? They've got 3 draft choices in the next 3 years.
So this year they just have a 6 and 2 7s. Next year they have They have their 3rd, Chicago's 5, then they're 5, 6, 7. Then the year after they're just missing their first. But I mean,
they're missing their first. Is it 3rd year? And I think 3
years in a row without a first, and then 2 years without a second, and then this year it's just 3 picks at the bottom.
Okay, but you know what? If you go back, let's just take a look now, really quick. If I can pull it up here. If you look at the average age of but then again, like you're saying, it's going to be the salary cap thing. Can they get them all in under the money?
And that's the thing. You need those draft picks to get those cheap players too, right?
Agreed. So they could be in a but I'm saying if you look at a bunch of those guys, Saraguchi, the defenseman, Sergachev, Hedman, Braden Point. What's the other center that you just mentioned? All those guys are Cirelli. They're all under 28 or 27, 28. They're all under there.
Well,
most of them are over there. So
Hedman's 32.
Well, no, I didn't. Hedman, not Hedman. I didn't include them. And Stamkos is pushing 30.
He's a year older. He's 33. Yeah, Cirelli is 25.
Yeah.
Points 26.
Yes. Look at the age. So I'm saying if they can they have a nucleus. Vasilevsky's only what, 30? So he's got years left as a goaltender.
Yeah, he's 28.
Yeah, so he's got years left. So I'm saying that they're a team that could bridge it.
Yeah, but fitting those guys kind of like on the edges is going to be a lot harder, especially without those draft picks.
Okay, so what does their bottom 6 look like? Their bottom six has carried them this far. Like, I mean, if they can maintain those guys and keep a star, like, I think something's going to have to break. Is this Stamkos' last year or next year?
Next year. He's got one more year left.
Okay, so I think that they could balance it then. I think Tampa
But next
Bay
year is going to be a squeeze, though, is my point.
Oh, I agree. I looked at their salary. I brought it up. Other people are talking about shows on how they got there that far. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to have to do some kind of a dance.
Ross Colton's in RFA. He's going to get a raise this summer.
Yeah, so how old is he?
He's 26.
See, that's what I'm saying. They got a lot of guys that are still in their prime years that could bridge them over.
I know, but I don't know. It's going to be a weird. But they've had to give up guys, though.
Okay, but
That's
they
the
did
problem.
agreed. But they didn't have to shed them like Chicago and LA did. Remember, every year, like Chicago, like the next year, like they lost Verstag, that one or whatever his name is. Remember, he was
Versteeg. Yeah,
he had to go. The defenseman had to go. Then well,
him, Bufflin, and Ladd were like the first summer. Yeah,
okay, they went, and then Panarin, they lost him.
Oh, that was different. That was stupidity. That was
I can't believe
them and
that.
when they drafted or they sent out him and Charmelson. That was them pressing the panic button.
Agreed. Probably it was, but I'm saying like they
could have kept those guys around.
I thought they should have too, but I'm saying like. Bringing it back to your Toronto Maple Leafs, I think that the Toronto Maple Leafs are smarter because they bridge that. They could bridge this. Like in the event in a couple of years that they a couple guys got to go or whatever, I think that they've got a nucleus, and they were smart enough. Like Dubas said, he kept his draft pick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
well, he got another one to replace it at least.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And they've got a couple of guys down in the minors that they haven't brought up yet that they could do it. Like they keep talking about a couple of defensemen down in
Cleveland Marlies. I'm glad you brought that up because like they're guys who are basically like they're 7, 8, 9 in the beginning of the season. They're 10, 11, 12 on the depth chart. And those guys showed it earlier on that they could play. Exactly.
And so you're going to bring them up. So the structure of the team, as we're going to get back to it, is the fact that I'm of the belief that everyone wants a championship, but I don't want 10 years of going to the rink and no one's there, because here's another thing. That affects your bottom line on a financial point of view. Sponsors, viewership,
everything,
merchandising, the whole 9 yards, which also contributes to your bottom line when you have to pay for your free agents and all those players. So I don't want to take away that base. Not that Toronto would ever have to worry about that because they're an outlier when it's concerning all of that.
But not Tampa.
But not Tampa. No, not Tampa. Not a Carolina, which is another team I want to bring up.
Well, hold on. I'm not done with Tampa yet because I want to talk about that Tanner Jeannot trade.
Oh.
Because they gave up a bundle for a guy whose shooting percentage this year is 5%.
But he's young. He's young. He's big.
He's big.
He's young and he's big.
Young and he's big.
He's young and he's
I don't know though.
I thought it was a little steep too.
It was very steep.
You know what I mean?
They had that one good rookie season last year, but he was shooting 20%. That's an outlier.
Okay, agreed. So what I'm saying is that what really
he's already a -2 in his first 2 games in Tampa.
Okay, that's not good either. But that's what I'm kind of clueless when it comes to the thinking about how teams decide who they take. Meyer went to Theo Meyer. What he ended up getting, the value he got, I thought that the Leafs could have offered more. Or other teams should have offered more for him. You know what I'm saying? Don't you think so?
I'm trying to think where he went. New Jersey?
Yeah. Okay, which was a great fit for him.
We're talking about the Devils now then?
Yeah, just for a second, with that great line, that great line. And I think he's a perfect fit because he's more of a grit guy, because I don't think the Jersey has enough grit up front.
Oh, they definitely needed another big boy in that lineup.
Okay, so now that they've got him. Okay, but they didn't give up as much as it seems. Like, what did they give up? A first and a second and a player? I thought he would have commanded more along the lines of what Tampa Bay gave up.
Let me pull that up quickly.
Because in context of the two trade, I think Tampa Bay gave up more.
I mean, there's a lot of players in there, but like I don't know too much about these prospects to be honest.
Don't either.
I know Andreas Janssen. He was a former Leaf. I know about him.
He's not panning out if he keeps getting shifted around.
Well, he wasn't even in the NHL. He wasn't even in the NHL this year.
Exactly.
He had that good rookie season with the Leafs, and that's basically about it.
So this is third or fourth team now. He's getting
third team.
Because
we traded him to New Jersey.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So now that's a guy that's going to probably be one of those guys that's always in the end of the trade. Like they throw him in a trade package, so I don't think they've got value there. But
you know what I think? You know my theory about Timo Meier, though. I think a lot of teams were scared off because, what it sounded like, he only wanted to sign with New Jersey.
Oh,
that was the word around the campfire. So I think that scared a lot of teams off.
Okay, and he's due for a salary, and New Jersey's one that can afford to pay him.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so that's huge.
Their
I
salary
understand.
cap situation is like
Solid.
for a fan of another team in the East. It's frankly a little scary, but
Exactly. So I seen the game last night. I don't know if anybody watched the game. The Vegas Jersey game last night, which ended in overtime. Highly entertaining game.
yes, very entertaining. Aiden Hill making a bunch of big saves for New
Oh,
Jersey or for the Vegas rather.
Yes, and you know what's that guy's name? The funny name, Schwing. What's their goalie's name on Jersey again? I love the guy, the Russian. He's
Russian,
Yeah. I love that guy. Where did he come from?
Schmid, you're talking about?
Yes.
I don't know. Goalies are like that though. It's just like these guys that you've never heard of in your life come up and all of a sudden they're making like a good impact in the NHL, right?
He made 3 or 4 monster saves at a time when New Jersey was down by a goal. Because the Jersey scored late to tie to go on. He made 3 or 4 monster saves, playoff-style saves. You know in that game, like you know what I'm talking about, Game 6, down 3-2 late in the third period, and the goalie got to make that save? He made 3 or 4 of those last night that I thought were outstanding saves, and I think the New Jersey defense carries themselves quite well.
Yeah, I think so too. But I mean, I'm looking at their forward lines right now. They don't have Timo Meier in here on daily faceoff yet, but I mean, you look at like Tatar, Hischier, Mercer, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Andre Palat, Eric Howla, and then you add Timo Meier in that mix.
Well, I think it's pretty good, and
Man.
I really, the more I see him, what's the line? Mercer, Pratt, and Hughes.
Mercer, Hischier, Tatar is their top line right now, according to this.
What is it? But last night they didn't play like that. What did you say their top line was?
Hischier, Tatar, Mercer. This is from yesterday, so I don't know.
That was their top line. So
Maybe they Tatar, Hischier, and Mercer.
Tatar. Yeah, I thought the best line they played last night was
Hughes and Bratt.
Yeah,
and,
Bratt.
Sharangovich.
No, Mercer played on that line.
Oh, maybe they switched them up then mid-game.
Have you noticed in the last 2 periods they were out there and they were flying? They could.
I only caught the overtime of that game, so I wasn't able to
I
see.
watched the whole game, and I really thought that line was outstanding. Jack Hughes looked great. As opposed to
All
the guy
season,
on the other
man.
side, who's the big player on the other side that was the #1 pick, who's just not seeming to pan out? Eichel.
Oh, man, I want to get to Vegas later. But
Okay, but in any event, what's Carolina going to be like? Because they're going to be. I'm thinking that Carolina could be the team that gets knocked out early. Okay,
they could, which is funny because you were completely on the opposite side of this early in the season. Basically, up until a couple weeks ago.
Yes, I was absolutely loving them, but now that I've been following them a little bit closely, here's my theory. So I don't want to contradict myself. I really thought that Carolina was one of those complete teams, 1 to 18 skaters. They moved as a team. They're solid defensively. They're top 10. Yeah, they're top 10 scoring, top 10 goals against, which is a formula to get you somewhere in the playoffs, okay?
Yeah.
The problem is they don't have the go-to guy. That's
they're
scares
due
me.
by
They
committee team.
Yeah, and you know in the playoffs when you get to the third period, sometimes the committee doesn't get it. It's the guy that rises up and takes you there. Who's going to be the rise up guy in Carolina?
I think Sheshnikov could be that guy maybe for them one day. You don't think so?
Right here, right now.
Aho's a good guy too, though.
Oh, I like him a lot, but I don't.
Nashas is really good, I think.
But they're not tough. You know, in the
Fair
playoffs,
enough.
the games are changing. Like I've watched Carolina. I'm getting a little bit. As you know, when I was showing off my man cave and how I watch sports the other night when I sent you the video. So that's when people say, "Cruz, how can you watch all these games?" You see how I watch all
It's like
these
going to a
games?
bar. They got multiple screens on. You can keep up.
Yeah, of course you know what it is, and people say especially when I bring people over to the house and they're in my man cave, how do you watch all this? Once you get used to it, you see it. There's commercials.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But I do admit this.
Not Brady. He was like, "Why I would never leave."
Okay. Here's the thing: is that you got to understand is if you have a multi-screen setup like I do, and you're watching sports. By the way, full disclosure: I have 4 screens in my basement, 340s. And I think a 32 or whatever, 340s and a 42. I don't know. Who cares what it is? It just sits in front of me. One of the things I will tell you this, if you have a 4-screen setup, hockey is the hardest to watch multiple because the game moves so quickly. You know what I mean? And it's great to watch. So when I'm watching hockey, I make sure that I put both. If I'm watching hockey and basketball, I will be honest with you, I put both hockey games on the top screen. So that if it's almost like having bifocals.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm always looking at the top because in basketball, there's a flow to it, but it stops and goes. Football is a stop and go, and baseball is like you just go by the pitch, right?
Basically.
Okay, but when you're watching hockey and you're trying to watch, I can watch 2 hockey games at once. Okay, I can get back and forth. I can keep my eyes on it there. If someone's going to try to tell me they can watch more than that at one time, then you must be a superhuman being because the game just goes too fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what I end up doing is, here's another cheat things fans out there. Always PVR every game. Put your game on all PVR. And people say, why? Because when you PVR it and then come and watch it, like, wait till the period's half over. Don't know the score. That's my master move, people. And here's the little trick. You go walk the dog. The game starts at 7 o'clock, right? Go walk the dog at 10 to 7. Come back in at about 7:30, 20 to 8. You don't know the scores, but you can control the games now.
Okay, we got to get back on track here talking about hockey.
Okay, anyways.
We'll get back to Crew's PVR talk a little bit later.
This is how you see all these little nuances about the game, which makes me think that's my point of bringing this up. I've watched enough Carolina games in the last month because, as you said, remember what a month ago I was screaming,
all Hurricanes.
Oh, I love this.
And I was the one. I was the one basically like, Cruz, are you sure about that?
You got me.
The John Cena meme. Are you sure about that?
I know, but I was really. The thing is, like I said, they don't have the go-to guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
And they have 2 injury-prone goalies, which has always been my red flag on that team.
But look who's carrying them. One of your boys.
For now.
Okay.
For now, they were saying that last year too. Where was he in the playoffs?
Nowhere. He was dead and gone. We're not even mentioning his poor name.
I'll mention the name, Freddie Anderson.
Oh,
I liked Freddie, but
did too.
there were some things they were like. I don't
what
know.
do you say Carolina's prospects for the playoffs are now? How far do you think they're going to go?
They can win a round, maybe 2, but they're not going to the finals.
I don't think they want to make the conference finals. You know what I'm saying?
Things could break their way, though. I mean, like, playoffs are weird like that.
Oh, agreed. But I'm saying now, what do you think of the Rangers' moves?
Let me take a look. Well, I also want to mention with Carolina, just a couple like soft moves. Really, I don't know why they went after Jesse Puljujarvi. I don't know why they become Team Finland all of a sudden too.
You know why? Because they said those guys played together in juniors.
Puljujarvi and Aho?
Yeah, they said they were big teammates, and especially the other night, I don't know.
That doesn't always carry over, though. That's such flawed logic.
Yeah, well, then they're saying the reason that they picked up Kane in New York is because Panarin and him were such great teammates together.
But that was in the pros.
True. Good point. But anyways, I seen that they were flashing it the other night. I don't know what show. You know when you get.
And even then, like, it's who can say that they can recreate that? But anyways,
I don't think they can. Like I see, juniors is a long time ago.
No, I'm even saying with like the Kane. Panarin situation. Like, there's no guarantee they can even recreate that.
I
it's a better shot. But
I agree. But I'm saying that's why I'm kind of backing off my Carolina thing. Because you know what? I really thought as a team, these guys are going to go places. Like they play this way. They're solid in their own end. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're well coached. All that cliched nonsense you talk about a hockey team, they've got it. Then I looked at them again and they don't even have a 30-goal scorer. Okay,
like,
they don't have it. Now,
are you talking about as of yet?
As of yet. Maybe someone just got a 30.
Well,
they're going to have a 30-goal score.
I don't know.
They're going to have a 30-goal score. But they're not. No. When you look at it, I'm saying no. What do they have that's going to carry them to the next level? Okay, they've got 3 guys that score 20 goals. Aho's their center, and he's got 27. And he's not known as a goal scorer. He's known as a setup man.
More of a playmaker, yeah.
More of the playmaker and a good penalty killer, too. He's a very good penalty killer, okay? But now you look at the team and you go, okay, who else is going to score here? Because they're not a huge scoring team.
No.
But they're very good defensively, and they score when they need. They usually play with a lead. Okay? So that's solid in the playoffs if they get out in front. But, again, let's get back to it. Regular season.
Yeah, you're right. They're only going to have, Aho and Nashas are going to be the only guys that hit 30 goals this year on that team.
That's what made me back off. You know, when you're back in there about a month ago and I was talking about, look at this team, and every night they're winning 3-2. They're winning 4-3. They got the big defensemen. All their defensemen are no-name big. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And they're all good plus minus. I mean, you know me, Mr. Analytics here. My only analytic I love is the plus minus, especially on your defensemen. And all their defensemen are plus, which is going to come in handy during the playoffs, don't you think?
Sure.
So, but I'm saying, so you're not saying they're going to go anywhere? Who do they projected to play in the first round?
Let's see. I mean, that Metro division's still very much in flux.
Oh, huge.
It's either going to be that they win the division and they play one of the wild card teams, or they finish second and they play the Rangers.
But I think they're going to play. I think they're going to win the division. You think
Jersey's right on their tail, though?
Well,
Jersey's just 2 points back.
Think they can,
and Carolina's got game in hand, but I mean, you got to win that game still, right?
And there's 20 games left, so let's just
talk about
it. We got
and their goal differentials are basically the same.
Oh yeah, and let's get back to my original premise now. I'm big on the jersey bandwagon now. I've completely jumped on that. You know what I mean?
my God.
I'm jumping on their
Who
bandwagon.
are you and what have you done with Cruz?
Well, it's because I haven't been smoking as much weed lately. I'm trying to cut down on that. That could be making a sensibility. The reason I am is because I think this much. Jersey's got a great goaltender. I really like the Russian goaltender, and I like the way that they skate and bang. They got a little bit of grit to them. This Meyer is really going to make a difference. I think he could be pushing them over the top. I thought that Carolina could skate to a point where they could take them home. Like, I really thought they could get there, but without that big guy. Now, you got Meyer there, who's going to get, and they got a number of guys on Jersey. Jack Hughes alone is a game breaker.
He's a star, man.
He's
a
just
star.
so good. He's so fluid on the ice. I love that look of that type of hockey player. Like, if I'm going to pay box office, I'm going to go see Jack Hughes.
Oh, hell yeah.
I'm not going to go see Jack Eichel, but I'm going to go see Jack Hughes, okay? You know what I'm saying?
I love that we're just shitting on Jack Eichel.
I don't mean to, but he's a big boy doing nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Part of me wonders if that's part of the team too, where they're like, you know, there's
second chance, second team.
I know, but like my point is like they're kind of like waiting and they're kind of like want to wait him back in, especially since he's had like so much time off and the injuries and all that. I think it might be kind of a multifaceted thing. I would kind of blame the team there too because he's missed a lot of games too, so that throws off your rhythm too, right?
We had a great game last night. A great game, New Jersey against Vegas. Okay,
he was invisible, at least in the overtime.
Didn't hear his name. I didn't hear his name all night. I was waiting. I
was surprised that they sent him out as the second shooter in the shootout.
Oh, that was another thing I thought too. And everybody that shot last night, what were these guys shooting? They should have called me. There were some of the worst shootout chances I see. Did you see when some of them were terrible?
Yeah, they were bad.
Like I don't know. Like, nobody made moves. You know what I'm saying? I thought, hey.
I mean, shootouts are just like I think they got to scrap
move,
that.
But he got robbed.
He did. But I mean, I just think they should scrap the shootout. Get rid of it.
So what do they do instead?
Just keep going like 2-on-2 or something. Like keep it overtime. Yeah.
Really? 2-on-2? Like what? You go down to 3, then to 2?
Yeah. Why not?
No, then it starts to look like we're at Chuck E. Cheese or someplace. Come on, no. So what? You do this then? I say.
So you're pro shootout.
No, I'm not pro shootout. I don't know. I don't have the solution. I'm saying to go 10 more minutes. Oh, then we go 10 more minutes. Then we go, oh, what about load management? Oh, what about this? So you know what I mean? All those factors come in. Oh, we're going to miss a plane. Oh, we're going to move.
This is all collectively bargained, so.
Well, then we're going to see what's happening. Because then if you wait too long, you're at a Springsteen concert, and next night you get your ass kicked. Okay,
team bonding, though.
Just say, oh, yeah, okay. Team bonding and
it's an investment cruise.
I heard that they really sent out the kids too, but that's another story. Like,
what do you mean?
Like,
they went too. Yeah,
they went too. They still brought them out to the game. They told me.
I like that.
I did too. I think it probably affected everybody in an emotional way. But that's another story. Let's get down the road. So when we're talking about one of the things before we go out west is
we got a lot more to talk about before we go out west.
Who
Rangers.
Oh yes, I think the Rangers. I'm on the New Jersey bandwagon as of now. I think, especially if they win the division. Yeah. If they win the division, they're going to be something to be concerned with. But then again, I'm going to say the Rangers now have picked it up to a point where they got to be. They're not that far behind Carolina. They got 20 games. Can they catch? Is it a realistic possibility?
They're 9 points back.
I think that's a lot to make.
And the teams ahead of them have games in hand too. It's tough. That's going to be tough.
Okay, so that means that Carolina will play. Let's just go with the hypothetical belief that Jersey wins the division. If Carolina plays New York in the first round, that's why I'm getting off the Carolina bandwagon, because I think that if they play either Jersey or the Rangers, they're not winning.
Well, I was going to say I wanted to get to that. I think New York, once they get to the play, I think regular season they might be a little screwed getting home ice advantage, especially in the first round. But, I mean, in the playoffs, with the goalie, with that team, you got to like them.
Oh, with Rangers? I'm like them a lot too, and I really hope that there's a possibility that that it ends up somehow, and I think it works out that way. If I'd like to see a Jersey Ranger series.
Oh, me too.
I would really like to see
those series are like it's always a bloodbath.
Of course it is, and it's that metropolitan area in New York, and the Jersey and Islanders have always been the poor step kids. Yep. You know what I mean? And they play in the swamp and all that other ridiculous New York press nonsense.
Keandre Miller's just got to keep the spit in his mouth.
There you. I thought we weren't going to all those little nasty off. Only we talk about in the bar moments. Okay, but you know what?
That was so ridiculous. I had to bring that up.
You had to. I mean, I get it too. But this is why, as we're building on this, and we got a few things to go. This is why we have the house that happens, and this is why we're trying to spread the word that we are. Because I'm noticing on TV they sugarcoat a lot of this.
Sure.
We're not sugarcoating anything. Let's just
We don't
tell the
have to.
truth. No, and then we won't.
You don't have to.
I'm not going to bring up any more talk about grandmothers, so I promise. Okay, that for the rest of the season. And if I do, slap me. We'll get that punching bag in the air.
Sure.
Because it's true, we might have some sponsors. And I'm telling you, my sister is in here, and my sister, by the way, is a principal. And she'll jump in the microphone because she says, "You and your gender shit, I'm going to kill you." Okay, who my sister is a die-in-the-wool fan. I want to shout out to Michael, Chris, and Randy. That's my brother-in-law and my 2 nephews, who I hope for their sanity. Those kids have never seen a win. They're in their early 20s, Andrew. They've never seen a playoff win in their lives.
What do you mean, like a Stanley Cup?
No, a series win.
For
Toronto.
Oh, I thought you were saying the Habs.
No.
Oh,
They're Leaf guys, and they're
Yeah.
we were over for Christmas, and when I came in and I mentioned the Leafs, they said, "Uncle Jack, no talking about our Leafs." Same as why do people have that impression of me? Let's go on. Let's get back to the
I wonder
Rangers.
why.
I want them to win, guys. I do.
Sus. But like Rangers, I mean, you gotta like. Not that they started the whole deadline season, but I mean the Tarasenko was definitely like a bomb.
Oh yeah.
They sent out there. They gave up a fair bit, I would say, to St. Louis to get it done, but I mean, worth it, I would say.
I agree.
Kane they got for pennies on the dollar. His value was tanked.
That was so. They stole him, I think.
Well, I think especially too because I think Kane was only going to accept a trade to the Rangers anyways. By the sound of it, I don't buy that the Leafs were on his trade list.
Oh, I don't believe it either. After he said about his balls being scratched on ice months ago, when I heard
was
that
your
quote,
line about that?
Yeah, he goes, "I'd rather have my balls dragged across broken ice than play for the Toronto Maple Leafs." And then I heard he was on the Leaf list, and I said, come on, that's not as bad as me jumping off the Carolina bandwagon, but you know what I'm saying? You know, come on. When he said that, and then I heard, especially here in Toronto, where the media is so crazy, and they were all eating up. And remember the game he played against Toronto, and he was invisible.
Oh yeah.
And then the next game he plays, he gets a hat trick. Like, what does that tell you about the character of the guy?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm watch out, New York.
I didn't want the Leafs to.
I didn't
to
want
him
him either, and I'm just saying he's a little bit of a bitch, to tell you the truth. But he could make the difference in the playoffs. He's only 33, 32, and he's still got those Jets in the open ice. He's still got the Jets. He's still got the release. He's a big upgrade on the scoring, and that's what I'm saying. The difference between Carolina. Carolina doesn't have a guy like Kane. They don't have
they don't have that alpha.
They don't have that guy. Solid team. And that's why I hate to beat the dead horses. Like, I'm going, look at this Carolina team. They are so oops.
Yeah.
They are so oops.
So, oops.
But you know what? Their season could be right in the can, though. Imagine that. No, they've been running as a front runner all season. Jersey chases them down.
Part of their plan kind of went into the toilet too because they want to use Pacioretty as the quote unquote their own deadline rental or whatever, and like it doesn't look like he played like 3 games, then like got re-injured basically.
I keep tabs on the Habs. I didn't cry the day that we traded Pacioretty. I was not happy when we even made him a captain. I was like, this guy? Not going to say anything to the fact that he's American.
From the guy from the other side of the fence, I never liked Pacioretty.
I didn't either, and he was supposed to be a 40-goal scorer. He was like
35 guy.
Yeah,
just under.
Yeah, but he always scored.
No shame.
How many times did he score 2 goals in the third period when we were down 6-2?
I don't know. You know more about that than me.
Okay, so
I know that was a complaint that not to change subjects too much, but like Ryan Howard with the Phillies, he had that.
The year
thing too, right?
Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's what Pacioretty turned to me. And when we got rid of him, I said, great, because then we didn't have a salary anymore either.
Yep.
Which was a good thing. But we're not here to talk about that. The fact is that it's not going to work out for them, and it's going to be. I think that the brain trust of Carolina will be upset. When they lose in the first round. If they lose, their season's a failure, don't you think?
I think so. I mean, they were expected to be contenders.
Yeah, and now that they're here, like everywhere I looked, they were like. I mean, if you look at the preseason prognostications, everybody was calling them like top 4 team in the East, which they have turned out to be. But I say once the playoff comes, I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know unless that team structure thing can get you there. Because remember a couple of years ago when St. Louis made the run. Who was their big star? Tarasenko wasn't considered like the superstar at the time, but he emerged during the playoffs just like Riley. But Riley got that level now. But what's Riley done in the last couple of years? He's never been that superstar anymore. So perhaps maybe Carolina could do that things. Because remember 20 years ago, you're too young, when Carolina did win the Stanley Cup?
I remember when they won. I was a teenager.
Were you that? Really?
I was 13.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I was
born in 93.
And you're the diehard that you are. You would remember that. The bottom line, who did they have then? Stahl, who was a kid.
Yeah.
He was the big
But
kid.
he had a 100-point season that year.
Oh, yeah, he was good. But, I mean, who else did they have? They won by committee.
Yeah.
They won by committee, so maybe Carolina's believing that that's the history of the team. That maybe because they haven't done much then. I would really.
That's how they got to the finals in 2002 as well, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I got to remember that. So I'm just saying this. I don't want to dump on Carolina. Check the tapes.
Sure.
I was talking Carolina huge, and then now I'm going. I don't think so. You know what I mean? So let's just say before we go a little bit farther. Let's just look at the standings for a second if they went 1-8. Because here's what I'm thinking the NHL is failing on before we go
honestly,
west.
but in the East, I thought it wouldn't work out that different. I checked it out.
It would make a difference because Tampa wouldn't be playing in the first round against Toronto. The Rangers would not
But the East is just so stacked. Actually, it would be Tampa, Toronto first round regardless.
Really? As it would have gone that way? They would have been 4-5 because who's first?
Boston.
Oh, yeah, Boston.
We got to get to them next. Carolina 2, New Jersey 3. They would be playing the Rangers. So it really...
But that could switch because Toronto and New Jersey are about the same point totals, aren't they?
Toronto's 2 points. Yeah, but
that could change.
I mean, it's... I don't think it's making... Like, the East is just, like, it's ridiculous. It's what the West was, like, 10 years ago.
Okay, so now, agreed. But, I mean, let's look at it this way. When you're talking about a product and you're getting a big contract with ESPN and you're trying to sell the team, you're trying to sell teams to John Q. Public... You're going to lose some big teams in the first round that maybe necessarily you wouldn't, and that you'd get the second round.
But like, sure. I mean, hey, I'm with you with going to the 1-8, but like this year is like, I don't think it's the deal breaker. You know what I mean? Or it would make the big difference.
If Jersey doesn't catch Carolina, because I don't think Carolina is a big enough market for the NHL to care about. In regards to having Jersey or Rangers, which they much rather have.
Yeah, because they're in New York.
Because the greater metropolitan New York area. So I'm saying right off the bat, if they play, you're going to lose one of those teams right off the hop. So you're talking.
That would probably happen regardless.
And I don't want to say about the other team that would lose in the first round because I said I wouldn't bring that up anymore. But I mean, if any of those happens, you're losing marquee. You get to the second round of the playoffs, and you're losing marquee teams.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas, let's just look at it very, very quickly. And the other thing is, they're already talking, the NBA markets things so differently, but in a cheesier kind of way. Like,
sure.
They're like in the back door, like, if the LA Lakers would dive to get to sixth place, which is a realistic possibility now that LeBron's out, suddenly they're playing Sacramento in the first round. They beat Sacramento. They got Lakers around for another round.
Yep.
And the whole NBA is going, look. Fan appreciation. We got the Lakers. I don't think that the NHL thinks like that, and they should.
No, they definitely don't.
Okay, so now you want those teams in the second round, don't you?
But like I don't know, the NHL's weird. Like where they almost kind of like having like these like small market teams go farther.
I think they like the upsets in the first round because let's get something straight here. In all of the big four sports, I don't think there's anything as great as
the first round in hockey.
Oh.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Even the first round in the NBA playoffs. Okay, baseball, it's not because those teams know who they are and they usually end up winning.
First round in the NBA sucks usually. It doesn't get good till round 2.
That's what I'm saying. So the only thing is they're trying to do it in baseball. How they brought in the extra wild card, so those games are really intense.
Yeah.
Now they go 2 and 3, so they're getting the NHL thinking about increasing the intensity in the early games, so they would go. You know what I mean? But outside of that, I really think they should go back to 1-8 because I think once the dust settles at the end of the year, when we see the point totals, I think that Toronto would miss Tampa Bay. However, we'll
see.
We'll have to see
because I think last year they were the 4-5 as well. Anyways,
no, I think it was a little different, wasn't it? Because Tampa dropped off. Because remember, Kucherov didn't play, so they kind of fell down the standings. They weren't as high. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong.
I'm pretty sure they were still the 4-5 last year.
Okay, because we got to move on because
we got to talk about your favorite team.
You know what? Okay, they're winning. They're going to win the Jack Adams. They made some nice trades. Next.
The Jack. That's for Coach of the Year.
I mean, not Jack Adams.
President's Trophy.
Yeah, they're going to. Okay. Here's my take. They're good. They're in first place. They got some nice records. Picked up a couple of nice guys. Fuck you. And I don't usually swear. Check the tapes on The House That Happens. If anybody's going to make me swear, we don't even have to talk about the team that I'm swearing about. If you don't know me by now, I'm a full-blown hater. They make me sick. Every time I go, I got to hear about what they're going to do. Aren't they great? Didn't they do that? They make me sick. I hope they lose in the first round and half the team looks like vermin.
And they're stashing Taylor Hall on IR too, so.
Little scamming sons of bitches. Oh, you know what? I have to say this. Can I just say one thing? That Allmark goalie is going to be the key to them. This guy has really emerged as a great goaltender. You know, where did Boston find this guy?
Buffalo.
Ugh. See, people, remember earlier in the year when we had about the shows that people don't wait for goaltenders? And then they steal from other teams and they get developed in the way they go. Like, no patience with goaltenders. And I like your theory is, if you're going to be a team that's going to make it on your salary cap, you can't pay a goalie more than, what did you say, 5?
5.
I'm really like when you said that a few shows back, I went, huh? But I went home and I started looking around to see what you're saying. That's a very viable argument, bro.
Like with Tampa, like sure it's working now with Vasilevsky, but like goalies are weird.
Goalies are weird. And they still got him on a contract for how much longer? 2 more years, right?
Oh, I think like a 3 or 4. He
So
signed.
it's a great
He
deal.
signed the max.
He signed the max, but I mean, his max is what? They're only paying him what, 6 a year?
9.5.
Oh, they went up to 9 now. He's up to 9.
Vasilevsky?
Wow,
They're paying him 9.5.
Your theory about Tampa collapsing and no picks in a while is going to come to fruition. I forgot
think
they're
so,
paying
too.
him that much. I forgot. Yeah, like I never put that into context. Thanks for that little.
And
I should keep more tabs on the Rays.
The Bolts, yeah.
Come on.
We got so. And speaking of the salary cap, the days of Boston players signing for pennies on the dollar is over, which I am just ecstatic about.
If we have to have one good thing to say about it, yes, that's a good thing.
You get your bag, David Pasternak. You get your bag, Charlie Coyle. 25% of their cap next year, just tied up in those two.
Then you know what's going to happen? Here's what I think. Here's my prediction. Pasternak's a great hockey player. Something about him, I don't know what it is.
He can't drive a line.
There you go. So when his numbers drop in 2 years and they give him the big salary, I predict Boston will dump it.
Even potentially next year, because Bergeron and Krejci won't be back next year.
Oh, no, they can't. They won't be able to afford them, will they?
They signed for like one year for like
bring
super
the band
cheap.
bring the band together for one more round.
They're done.
So I mean, I hope so. I hope that they sink. I hope they become the Titanic of the NHL. That just tell you how much I like those guys. So we really have to. Okay, you know what we really have to do at the House That Happens, because we say we do show respect. Give Boston kudos for the amazing season they have had. This is a season of the ages. You know what I mean?
Could be a record-breaking season when all said and done.
I agree. Now, one of the things that I will,
101 points already in 61 games.
Unbelievable. Now, I don't know if we should bring this up, because the caveat is that back in the day they had ties. Okay, so that would bring down your point total. But at the same time, when you get that extra point, it also brings people up a bit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it's yin and yang.
Yeah, so like
speak.
so you can argue, was it the 77 Habs? Was it 77 Habs, 96 Red Wings? Probably. You could argue they're still probably the most impressive regular season teams.
Oh, yeah, I agree. That's the Yzerman, Shanahan, Lindstrom team.
That was before they got Shanahan. That was still when they had that was the year they lost in the conference finals to Colorado.
Oh, right.
So Paul Coffey was still been on that team.
Right. That was a great hockey team, though, man. Like,
they just couldn't finish.
No, but they learned to. But
next year they were back to back. So.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then because that's when Cosentino was becoming the defenseman that he was becoming. You know what I mean? Yeah, that Detroit team. Though in my time of watching hockey, and I'm the old man here, those two teams and that Hab team, and being the keep the Habs on the tabs guy, that season was amazing.
You'll get that right one day.
Okay, but in any event, thinking back at it really quickly, and all the stars that were on that team, including my beloved Guy Lafleur, Bob Gainey might have been the best hockey player on that team.
That's a hot take and a half.
I'm going to say that when you look back
on a team with Guy Lafleur,
Jacques Lemaire, Steve
Larry Robinson.
Schutt, Larry Robinson, Guy Lapointe, Serge Savard, Bob Gainey could have been the best hockey player on that team.
Wow.
First of all, he did this. Well, he shut down the other guy. So whoever you guide your guy, okay, like say if you had an Yzer, whoever it is that you had that was going to score, they put him out there with Dougie Jarvis. It was over. That other team wasn't scoring. And go back and look at it. Bob Gainey was scoring 20 to 25 goals a year at that time with a plus zillion. at the time. Like, I mean, and he wasn't on the power play that much because Montreal had so much firepower.
Yeah,
now,
he was a penalty kill guy, wasn't he?
Oh, they invented the Selke because of Bob Gainey.
You say that a lot, yeah.
Oh, he had to. The guy was that freaking good. And like, okay, let's not say anything. Guy Lafleur is God at my house, and you know I wear the Pierre LaRouche jersey, so you know who my love is. And I love Steve Schott, the greatest garbage goal scorer in the history of hockey. No doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? So, and they had those guys, and they had the great second line guys with the Lambert and Tremblay and those guys. But there was something about Bob Gainey and Larry Robinson too, because they had a little more flash with Savard and Lapointe, but Bob Gainey was that guy. He was like, he should have been the guy when you come out of the dressing room, he should have been the first guy on the ice. He was that kind of a hockey player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He was captain of the 86 team that won the cup, right?
That's right. Yeah. And not just that was his period on the sentence, because he was a main guy. And we might have not won another cup with him, getting a little off topic here, if Brian Trottier, who's one of the dirtiest good hockey players in the history of goddamn hockey, when he mugged Gainey behind the net. Have you ever see the play? He came from the blue line when Gainey's back was turned, jumped in the air, and crushed him and broke his shoulder. Oh, yeah, I hated Trottier since then. I never did. I know Trottier wanted him on the team, but when he did that, I said, the hell with him. Which brings up a little quick thing before we go on. What about all the teams that got players that are not going to make the playoffs, like the New York Islanders or the Ottawa Senators?
I think Islanders are going to make the playoffs.
Who are they going to take out? Is Buffalo not going to make it?
They're in the wild card spot.
They are now, but look at Ottawa's chasing them quickly. You think Ottawa can catch them?
No.
So it's going to be Buffalo then, right? So that means
Buffalo, but their goaltending is that. That's the thing.
So that means Carolina could play the Islanders.
I think Buffalo's too streaky.
Oh, definitely.
Because the goaltending. It's purely because of the goaltending.
Okay, so
all respect, like, I can't believe how fast Buffalo turned it around.
Oh, no kidding.
And like,
you got to give them credit.
And I want to shit on Vegas a little bit more because they gave up some good pieces. For
I know they did.
Like Peyton Krebs, the prospect. He's already on the team. He's looking good.
Oh, very good. We're going to get to the West in a second. So let me just ask this before. Are we done with the East pretty much?
I just want to kind of just talk about what was my note here? I just called the East wildcard Wacko Jacko because it's fucking insane.
Okay, so that means if the Islanders play Carolina in the first round.
They'd be playing Boston. It would be Carolina, Pittsburgh, which I think Carolina can win that.
Oh, I think so too. I think Pittsburgh's got too many holes. Like they just don't have. And Pittsburgh's not saying they're going to make the playoffs yet. They're not out of the woods.
I think they'll make it, but it's going to be tight.
So the wild cards will be
Pittsburgh, and then like probably the Islanders. But you got to give Buffalo at least like a fighting chance.
What if Ottawa goes? What if Ottawa goes 15-5 down
I think
the
that
stretch?
too many holes, especially with Chikrin's health kind of like up in the air now.
That's a drag, yeah, because that was
supposed to be their big upgrade.
That would have been huge, and I heard they're going to sign him too because they got.
Well, he's on contract for another like few years though.
Not that much. It was only 2
years.
That's not a lot for a guy his age. He's what, 26?
Well,
25?
I'm just saying, like.
He's solid. I mean, he's good on the team. You're right. They're going to have him for a while, but
yeah.
It's too bad. And I hate Ottawa too. I got no love for those guys. But I'm thinking.
I wouldn't say I hate Ottawa, but yeah, I definitely got no love for them.
You have to hate Ottawa. You're a Toronto guy. Remember those?
Yeah, but that's so far like removed now. It's like now just like they're like this little team that like I just want to see them like.
Okay, so
I want to see that rivalry.
Okay, what makes the rivalry then? What makes a rivalry?
Well, I mean, we've talked about this. It is because of the playoffs.
Exactly. And you guys went to, like, I thought for a period of time you'd have to say your rival was more than Montreal because we never played you guys in the playoffs and you guys are playing Ottawa every year.
Basically.
You know what I mean? So
was it 4 times in 5 seasons we played them in the playoffs?
Yeah, and that developed some kind of rivalry. I mean, look at when Jersey plays the Rangers. There's some rivalry there.
Yeah.
Why? Because the continuity of running into each other and playing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, though. So Carolina will play Pittsburgh in the first round.
That's how it's lining up.
We can't even say that because the Jersey's coming on.
You know what? Pittsburgh, they got games in hand over the Islanders, so like, yeah.
They've got to, but they got to win those games in hand. And
sure,
some of those things there.
But they're also ahead on points right now. I would say Pittsburgh's probably going to hang on to that number 7 seed if I had to bet.
I would too because I think the experience is going to get them there. So I'm going to put one more thing before we move to the West.
So I just want to give like quick notes. So Pittsburgh, yeah, whatever.
Done.
Islanders, we talked about it. Horvat was more of a trade for next year. They could probably still get in. Barzal's injured, though. So that
he's banged up. I thought that when they made that trade, I thought that was going to be the thing that put the Islanders over the top to get them in the playoffs. Now
could be.
Still, yeah, it's going to be tight. And I'm saying we can't rule Buffalo out either.
They need the goalie, though. That's going to be their big problem. Ottawa.
Calling you.
Gotta bring out dust off the old pads. Ottawa, they made that move, but like I think that was another one more of a next year kind of trade. Florida, we talked about them fraudulent.
Frauds, yes.
And like
what a fall off. Eh?
And they're another team, no first round picks.
No, they gave everything away. Their foundation, but you know what? Does that mean like if they keep this team, they give them one more year of togetherness that could get them to the next step.
Florida's kind of like that, so I wouldn't be too surprised. You know, they're very like up and down season to season.
One of the most disappointing teams in the league this year. They have to rate as one of the biggest disappointments.
Technically, yes, although I don't think I had them in the playoffs before the season, to be honest.
Well, you know, I was looking at like things like this, and they were considered a playoff team.
I never bought that though. Because they gave up a lot to get Tkachuk.
Yes. Yeah.
And, I mean, like...
I give you credit for that because
their goaltending is faulty.
Agreed.
And they're one of those teams, like, they were like, your buddy Jamie Noodles McLennan is like, oh, it's like, he's giving them all this credit because they're investing so much in their goaltending development and whatever. It's like, well, what's that done for them?
Because he's a goalie, that's all.
I'm just saying.
Okay, but no, you know what? I give you credit on that. I'm not saying I was pumping their tires. I said, don't forget about Florida. You dismissed them a while ago, and you're correct. Like, where are they at now? They're not going to do. They're not going anywhere. I just think that it's interesting that teams like Ottawa and Florida and Islanders all made trade moves. They all took shots at it. Whereas opposed to Calgary did nothing, which we're going to get to in a minute.
We will. And then Washington kind of doing a little bit of a soft rebuild.
Really?
I would say so.
I think because they very soft. Very soft because they got some pieces back, but obviously they're done for the year. They were sellers, they weren't buyers, but they did get some pieces back and a couple of picks.
Sure,
that could help them out in the long run. Which is going to tell you this: Ovechkin's not catching Gretzky.
Oh, come on!
He's not going to catch Gretzky.
Do I make a? I think we already made a bet.
We already made a bet on this. He's
not going to do it next year. Season after he does it, guaranteed.
Okay, what's he behind? 90 goals, isn't he?
Yeah, that's not much.
The way he's playing, he's not going to get 40 this year. This is the year he had to get 40, and he's going to be older, and they're going to bang on him more. And he's only got 2 years left on the contract, and you think Washington's going to extend that just to get him?
Hold on, let me see. Let me pull up
I heard the craziest thing during this trade week is they say, what would Ovechkin's worth be on the trade block at the trading deadline? What would
he's not moving from Washington. I think
of course not. It would be insane for them to do it. It's just for the media.
Well, even him, I don't think he would waive his no move clause.
Okay.
Because I think he said he wants to. He's got 3 more years after this.
He's got 3 more
on
his contract. So that means right now, if he is done, and he's not going to score dick all for the rest of the year because his dad died. Team's looking like a mess. He's got 1 goal in his last 10 games. Let's just.
He needs 82 to pass Gretzky.
Ooh.
He does it. He's going to do it not next year, the year after, guaranteed.
You know, it'll take him 3, maybe. Yeah, okay.
He'll do it.
He's Russian. I hope he falls off the cliff. That's all I'm saying. You know,
who else do we got in the East? Detroit, they were back in it for a hot second. Then they lose a few. Then they went back to sellers.
They're done. And
So I heard an interesting point. People were like, did they kind of start the build-up process a year early? Should they have tanked for Bedard this year? I think that's an interesting point because
I do too. Yeah, I never really thought of it till you brought it up right now, and that's an interesting take that you have there. So what, do you think they went a little too early?
I mean, it's definitely because I never really bought that they Sure, there's the argument that maybe they could sneak into the wild card, but there's a lot of good teams in the East, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
I got you.
That other mountain to climb. I don't know.
Big mountain to climb when you come to think of it. But they're young.
Yep.
They're young and solid.
They're looking good. Yeah. I mean, maybe next year, right? We'll see. Philly didn't have much to sell. Apparently, there was a trade in place. Elliot Friedman was saying between them and Detroit for JVR, but that it was incumbent.
What sense did that make?
I think Detroit was just like, hey, let's just give ourselves a chance for this year. Maybe we can re-sign him for next year. You know, I've already heard people being like, hey, Van Riemsdyk back to the Leafs could be a thing.
It should have been. I thought he would have been a good fit for this team.
I think it's very possible him to take a team-friendly deal, kind of play on that second power play next year.
Yeah,
why not?
I thought the reason that they didn't take a swing at him this year is because of his money and salary cap. Because
$7 million. Even if Philly retains half. That's still 3.5. You need to get a third team involved. It would have been a mess.
I would have rather,
not worth it.
Well, they did the dance already. Well, no, but that got them a defenseman. I agree. Okay, I understand that. But I thought, looking at the way that the Leafs were built, and you're talking about the little extra grit guy, and him being in Toronto, I thought they could have danced around the salary cap to get him.
Is Van Riemsdyk really a grit guy?
Well, not a grit guy, but I mean, up and down the wing, big guy. And he's shown
even up and down. I would say he's very lackadaisical. He's
at times. That's his.
He's good in that area in front of the net. That's basically it. That's his hot zone.
Okay, I agree. And I have to say the reason that the Leafs let him go is because he never gave them that extra, and I wouldn't have paid him that 7 either. I would never have paid him that 7, and obviously it hasn't paid off. They never got a 40-goal season out of him because the idea when he gave him that $7 million was like he had the potential to score 40 goals.
Yeah, there's kind of like a 30 and 30. Yeah, with Philly on that contract.
With Philly, yeah. How many times he scored 30 goals? Once or twice? That's it.
I don't even know. Not that. It was a bad 5-year deal.
Oh, definitely.
Bad 5 years for JVR.
No, it was a bad 5 years for Philadelphia. It was a good 5 years for JVR.
I mean, not professionally. Financially, sure.
Financially, that's what I'm getting at. That it was good. So I think Philadelphia is out in the forest for the next couple of years.
Yeah, they're screwed.
I don't think they're going to do anything.
They're apparently getting like no call. Like apparently Detroit was the only team interested in JVR at the deadline. Yeah,
well, I thought you'd heard that a lot, and probably heard a lot of that too. Was the fact that they had issues with his working his salary cap. The money was one of the biggest issues. Like they couldn't
Makes a lot of sense.
They couldn't dance with the way they did it. They didn't know, or nobody had a dubis that could make the
no capologist on payroll,
which is a good thing. But there's only one team we haven't talked about in the East, and I'm not going to talk about them because I love them way too much. We will see them next year. How is that? That's going to be my tab on the Habs.
There you go. You got it right.
Okay.
So my note about them was that they were really just lacking deadline trade chips, really. They traded Danoff to Dallas.
So what? Just get rid of the guy. I didn't want him anyway.
Well, I mean, hey, my point is that like he was one of the only few guys you could deal. Like Edmondson, a little bit surprised they didn't move.
You know why? Because he's got the injury. He's got the nagging injury.
Edmondson?
Edmondson. Yeah, he just we sat him the last game. I
did not know that.
We sat him for we sat Edmondson because he had an lower one of those.
Yeah,
mystery injuries.
LBI, UBI,
whatever it is. So he's on there. But here's what I'm really happy about what Montreal didn't do. People were actually kicking the tires on quite a few players on our team, but we refused to give them up. And the number one guy that they were going after is
Josh Anderson.
Oh, everybody and their brother wanted to take a shot at him. And if we had traded him, I'd be pissed because...
No, that would have been stupid.
That's right. And who else they were taking a shot at? They wanted a couple of our young defensemen they were looking at. I heard Gooley's name came up, but he was injured. I mean, just, like feelers.
Yeah.
The feelers
I think Monahan would have definitely been gone if he was healthy.
If he was healthy. Oh, definitely. And he was supposed to be, that like at the beginning of the season, either he was going to score or he was going to be trade bait, and he turned out to be neither because of the injuries.
Bad luck.
We just let him go.
It's kind of like what when the Leafs tanked for Matthews year, what P.A. Parento was for us.
Oh, remember that guy?
He was supposed to be the big... I always liked P.A. Parento. I always thought he was a little underrated.
I thought he was a little soft. Okay? But it's the same
Good
thing.
playmaker.
Like, it's like this thing. Who was going to take Drouin? Nobody.
He finally scored his first goal, though.
Oh, you're killing me. You're just killing me.
You couldn't have that zero in that goal column, though.
Okay, that's true. He got a goal. But, I mean, the guys that, first of all, we're never going to let Suzuki go. Okay? We're never going to. Gallagher was hurt.
Yeah.
And we're taking and going. And then what other pieces did we really have? Most of the guys that we have, we want to keep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we had a spurt this year where it looked like we have potential. With that in $50 will get you a case of beer. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to say any more. Okay, that's our keeping tabs on the Habs, and we will go on. God bless you, Montreal Canadiens. That's all I can say. And the only other thing I'm going to say is this, before I go out the door, is that I do believe now, and this is going to be sacrilegious in the world of the Montreal Canadiens, that the Bill Masterson's trophy going to Carey Price last year is very fraudulent to me.
We've gotten into that.
So we won't go anymore because I love Carey Price. On to the West.
Oh, yeah, and then I guess we're just skipping Columbus because they're Columbus.
Oh, right, yeah. They made some moves, though.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. They got the first round pick from LA. They got third next year. I don't really have. They're the only team that's just like whatever. They stink. They're gonna
stay there for a while.
Year.
They're going to be a while. And you know what's really sad? That's
Yeah.
about the teams. Like when you talk about a small market team, when you suck and you're a small market, how do you ever go forward? You better have a good.
Rough.
No, you what you have to do is you have to have a management a little bit like Carolina. Obviously, Carolina's done some good drafting.
Yeah.
So it's all about in your draft room who you pick. Do you pick the right guys? Do you get the right team? Because you can build from the draft if you do it properly. Now down the road, you might gonna have to pay. But I mean, like look at your draft picks. Okay, It's like what are you going to do? Like if you have the proper team, like I hear this all the time. And if just switch sports for 1 second, what if Philadelphia drafted Jason Tatum instead of Marcus Fultz?
That's a franchise-altering decision.
You're damn right it is. And look at the situation. Maybe Philadelphia would have a couple championships by now. That's the only reason I'm bringing it up is in context of teams that what is your draft? Like, who is your staff? Who's doing your scouting? Who are you picking? Now, everybody know they got fleeced because Danny Ainge pulled a fast one and fooled Philly.
Oh,
but that's another story unto itself. But we should move to the East because we spent a lot of time on the West.
Who do you want to lead with, Colorado or Dallas?
I'd rather leave with Colorado because they're at 7-2-1 in their last 10, and they seem to be coming down the track full steam. And like you called it, you said when they bring everybody back from those injuries, let's talk about the Colorado Avalanche. And look what happened since everybody's been back.
I mean,
Makar just come back, didn't he? Is he back?
Is he back?
Is he just?
Yeah, the Daily Faceoffs. They have him in the lineup.
Yeah, he's back too.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado, but like the one thing that still worries me just a bit is that number 2 center, like JT Comfort is quite a step down over of Kadri, right? And like once O'Reilly was gone to Leafs, it was like they didn't have any options, right?
Agreed.
So I don't know. There was no real way for them to fix that. I mean, there's still Colorado that they're top. Like if they get Landeskog back, I still don't think there's a timetable for his return. If I'm correct.
Well, I'm going to tell you this much. I'm sorry I disrespected Nathan McKinnon when we were talking about our top 10 players in the league. And remember, I put him on the outside looking in. Well, maybe I had made a mistake on that.
I would agree you made a mistake.
Because I thought, nah, he's okay, but I will. And we are allowed to admit when we make mistakes, correct?
Agreed.
Okay, so
I would prefer we admitted our mistakes.
Okay, so I've made 2 today. One of it is jumping off the Carolina bandwagon, and number 2 is not giving Nathan McKinnon enough respect. Have you seen him play in this 10-game streak?
He's a beauty.
Oh my God, he's
a beauty.
He's been playing every night. I turn on the highlights. Who's on there? If he's not scoring, he's setting up a goal, and if he's not setting up a goal, he's making the hit.
Yep.
That made the play. The other night, I forget what game it was. He made the hit that broke it out. That got them out. Like he's playing all world.
He's a top 3 player in the game, in my opinion.
Wow. I'm not. Maybe by the end of the year you could be wrecked. So who are you saying first? You're talking McCarr, McDavid.
Well, McDavid is my number 1.
Oh, that's a gimme. That's just 100%. So you're top 3. So who you're saying is number? So McKinnon and who else?
I'd probably say Matthews. I'm biased though.
Okay, but you know what? I wouldn't say that too because here's one thing: is we're going to talk about the top 3 running.
McCarr's right up there too.
Oh
though.
yeah. He's got to be there. But I'm going to just say this one more time: is I hope that the Toronto press backs off a little bit on how they're talking about Matthews. You got a generational player here, okay? He was the best player, maybe the best player on the ice last night.
Yeah, against Calgary.
I mean, not last night, but the Calgary game. He might have been.
Well, I thought Marner had the best game there.
Well, the 2 of them were on the ice together, so
1A, 1B. Okay,
1A, 1B. They were out there with their boy Bunting. I think he's the most he's turning out to be a very underrated player, don't you think?
I think he's pretty fairly rated. I think people know what he's all about.
Okay, can I make my full disclosure?
Let's hear it.
He's my favorite Toronto Maple Leaf player right now.
Okay.
I love the guy. I love
that's a very cruise decision.
I like just the way he plays. I don't bark at the refs, so bark at the players. Okay, but there's something about the guy. Like I'm going to predict this: if they go to a Game 7 against Tampa Bay, he scores the overtime winner to go to the next round. I'm going to put that out there, man. That's how much I like the guy. He's getting the ice time.
He's
getting the ice time,
Staple to Matthews, like I said.
Oh, I love that. And he goes up and down the ring, and he's not afraid to hit, and he's a great skater.
Yep.
I wish he had a little more touch.
I mean, he's got good enough touch. I mean, he's got. You can find Matthews and Marner in those tight spots.
Is he going to score 25?
I'd have to take a look at his numbers. We're kind of jumping all over. We're back on the Leafs.
Okay, let's get out of there. But
Colorado, they made a couple moves.
Interesting
really,
moves.
Lars Eller, I thought was a good pickup.
I thought Lars Eller was a great pickup. He's a great. You know what? Go back and check him back with Montreal.
Bunting gets 20. He's at 19. I think he gets 25.
He'll get 25.
Yeah.
If he got more power play time, because he never gets.
He plays second unit. Yeah.
Yeah, but sometimes he's out there for 30 seconds.
Oh, that's the problem with playing second unit on the Leafs.
Yeah, he doesn't get enough on the time there. But I thought Lars Eller was a great pickup. Personally.
And they get Jack Johnson back, some good depth.
There you go. Definitely. And what's his name? You know who's been playing really, really good for him? What's that guy? Rantanen or whatever.
Rantanen, yeah.
He's been playing great hockey. Like, I mean, he's jumped out at me more lately.
He's a superstar, that guy, I think.
You think so?
I think he's really good.
Oh, I think
he can carry a line.
Really?
Yeah. I think that's why they can afford to put him on line 2 on that team.
Well, I think it is because it does balance scoring because Lehkonen has been playing good.
Yep.
I think that he's been, like, when you look at that, their top 6, Colorado's top 6 could carry him.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
My one problem with that team, though, is like Sam Girard on defense. He makes me nervous.
Why?
He is not the most responsible defensively. Kind of reminds me of a certain defenseman on the Maple Leafs.
We're not talking about the Leafs anymore. Remember now, we hardly even talked about him, which is a good thing. Is it anything to do with my favorite analytic?
Plus minus? I don't even look at the plus minus. You know.
Oh, I do. I look at it every time. I look at the plus minus every time.
I mean,
bro.
Hey,
if you're a defenseman and you're -9, what's your?
I'm with you there. The
-9.
plus minus means way more for defensemen than it means for forwards.
Agreed.
But yeah, he is not sound defensively. Lots of giveaways.
I think he's trying to come out of his zone too fast sometimes.
I thought he should have been the sacrificial lamb for this team to upgrade that number 2 center.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
I've said this on the podcast before.
I think you said maybe you have. But who else are they going to have back there? Who's going to be back there? You're going to lose him.
Especially with Manson injured.
Oh,
that's the
hurts.
problem, right?
That hurts, yeah. And that Taves guy's a good defenseman.
Oh, him and Makar, that's a
those guys
killer pair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they're going to end up playing 25 minutes a night.
Or is Manson just scratched? Hold on, that's weird.
Is he?
Eric Johnson's out. Long term.
That hurts. That hurts.
That's okay. That's.
And
I still think like if whatever they could still make up for if they traded Girard, but I guess maybe just the trade wasn't there. I don't know what's up.
But Eric Johnson's coming back. He's in the lineup now, right?
Not according to Daily Faceoff.
So if we take a look at them tonight, it's going to be who's going to be all the defensemen on Colorado tonight.
So they have Taves, Makar's the top pair, Byram, Girard is the second pair, Jack Johnson, Brad Hunt is the third pair.
Yeah, that Berard guy's been playing pretty good. He stays in his own zone. I like the way that he plays. Like he's always out there in the penalty kill too.
Who's this?
What's his name here? I just seen his name, Berard or whatever. He's only played.
Gerard, are you talking about?
Yeah,
Gerard, the guy I just shit on.
Yeah, no.
Sam Gerard.
No.
Brad Hunt, Jack Johnson, Bohm Byram.
Yeah,
Byram. Oh, he's the guy they took like third overall a few years ago.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah, I like him, and he's always out there. Like if you notice out there, he's out on the penalty kill all the time. He's like that guy. Like he's a stay-at-home guy.
Yep.
Like he's solid when you.
But he can move the puck too.
Oh no, and he's a good skater. But I've noticed like he's their anchor guy.
Yep.
He's like the guy. Like how do you put it? Makar is Makar. He's next level. But I mean, he's the guy when you come over the blue line, you better look
out for him.
You better look out for him. You know what? Because
I
I've seen him like he takes guys out and he clears the front of the net. And every
big boy.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I like him, and big boys on defense play him. Especially in this 7-game streak. I mean, this 10-game streak of Colorado because
he's been a major player.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I've known, like when you watch a game, you turn it up to say, who am I going to hear?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I've never. When have I brought this guy up?
I don't think any of us have really.
No, okay, but now I'm noticing him even.
Mind you, it's not until this year that he's really gotten the ice time. Because last year he was like kind of buried on that third pair.
Yeah, agreed. But that's what I'm saying. When I watch Colorado now, I hear him. I see him more.
Yeah,
I'm seeing more. Like you say, his size. His size is
speaks volumes
of the way it is. And what are you saying about Dallas?
Oh, I want to ask you this first.
Okay.
Can Colorado win, or will they win the division?
No.
Too far back?
Too far back.
6 points back, 3 games in hand, though.
They got to win all 3, and guess what? They got a little gauntlet to go through here. If you look at their schedule, They've got a rough run here. They got to do Vegas, Seattle.
Yeah, but those are West teams. Have you seen the record like East versus West this year?
Oh, just
it's insane.
Is it not? What does that say about the league?
Imbalance. What else?
Oh, huge imbalance.
I mean, that was going to happen eventually because for a long time it was like the West was the world. Like going through the California road trip, that was a gauntlet in and of itself.
Remember that? Yes.
Now it's like, like obviously like LA kind of scares you, but like San Jose, Anaheim.
They were. That's distant past.
Oh, yeah.
When you come to think about it. So just wait a second here. If we're going to take a look at Colorado's schedule down the stretch here, I think it's a little bit tougher than people want to realize. Where is it?
If you can't find it, we should probably just move on. We've been going on for an hour and a half, so.
Really, really quickly here. Here we go. Coming down the stretch.
Nothing's ever quick with
they
you,
got
Cruz.
Dallas. Okay, look at their.
Can't find Dallas.
They got Dallas. They got Seattle. They got LA, and then they got to come east. Okay.
Who they play out east?
Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Detroit, Chicago. So they should win all of those.
I mean, like I think they can continue to clean up.
You have a good point here because what happens is they have this
A lot of winnable games.
huge, especially when we get in the end of March, because they got a run here where they've got Ottawa, Detroit, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Arizona twice, and Anaheim.
A lot of winnable games there. A lot of winnable games.
I thought it was tougher. Maybe it was the Vegas schedule that was a little bit tougher. But you got a point there. That's a quick way to make 6 points up.
Hell yeah.
You know, all those, especially with Arizona back-to-back. You know what I mean? Like
that should be 4 points.
There should be 4 points there. And not only that, they got San Jose. That should be a win. Playing my beloved Montreal Canadiens.
Sorry, Cruz.
That could be another one there.
Yeah.
But okay, I'm not ruling. I won't rule it out. But I don't think Colorado is winning the cup again.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they're going to win.
It's going to come between them and the Oilers to go to the finals in the West, though. We'll touch on the Oilers a little later, though.
Yeah, we got to get to them.
Dallas. I don't really have. Dallas didn't really do much.
No, because I think the team is solid. They picked up a winger.
I want to get to that a little bit too. How like the West, there's like it's not that strong. We've been talking about that. Golden opportunity for a lot of teams here to go to the finals, and all of them, and none of them really did anything. Except for Edmonton. They're the only team that really like took a big swing.
So that means they should get them to the finals because if you look at the history of great players, Connor McDavid is time to go to the finals.
I agree.
This is what, a 6th year?
16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 8th year.
Huh. And what has he done in the playoffs?
One. He's been to the conference finals once. He went to the second round twice.
Oh, second round. Come on. If you don't go to the second round, you're not
I'm
even
a Leafs fan. That means a lot.
Oh, yeah. I forgot that. That's a sacred ground.
Dallas, so they trade for Dadanoff from Montreal. They get Max Domi from
that was a nice pickup.
That's really it, though.
Well, you know what? Their team was solid. Like, you know, they'd have to give up some pieces. Like, people were pieces, and, you know, guess what? They didn't give up a bunch of draft choices. So Dallas is solid. Like, they've been building this. Like, last year they were a little bit better. This year they're a little bit better. You know what I mean?
So they're headed for a round 2 loss to Colorado then.
Well, we're not saying that. We're saying
joking,
that could be a good. That could be a premier series.
Well, I was saying before the show, the difference there could be that Dallas has. I think they have a slightly better defense. And I think they got the goaltender.
There you go. So where are we putting Minnesota in this game? They've suddenly risen. Remember, they rode off, and now they're solid in a playoff spot. I do believe we're on tape that you thought that they would fall off and wouldn't make the playoffs.
Now it was looking like they could.
But now I'm saying they're going to make the playoffs.
They will.
You think so now?
I think they're going to make the playoffs.
I think so. I don't think they're going to do anything.
No, I think they're heading for a round 1 loss to Colorado.
That's just so rude.
Is that the biggest one-sided rivalry in NHL history?
Oh, come on, easily.
Like Minnesota won, they won that first one 0-3. They upset them in the first round. Since then, it's just been like Colorado, Colorado. Yeah,
and they're due to play in the first round, aren't they?
They are, but that could change if Colorado
leapfrogs.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I really think they are going to leapfrog them. With the 3 games in hand and just looking at their schedule, I'm just saying this: we are Canadian. And we do like to speak loudly about all things Canadian. I'm so disappointed in the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah.
I'm so disappointed. You remember, let's go back to January 1st. They were almost the first in the conference.
There was, so...
What happened
even
to
like,
them?
Even just back to like a couple of weeks ago, like, or even like last week when I was like doing my show notes, it was like all those top 4 teams in the Central were within like 4 points or something. But now all of a sudden, like Winnipeg's like falling back. They really
rapidly.
They make one like soft move. What they get like Niederreiter at the deadline. Like exactly, it's not a guy that's gonna move the needle. Like it's like we got a guy that can play on power play too.
Do you realize
what
this?
Freaking do.
Okay, they are now. Just think about Winnipeg. If you go back to like early January or mid January, they were in around the division leader and possibly conference leader. If they go into a slump, they could miss the playoffs.
They're hanging on to that number 8 seed, right?
They could be, and like you're saying, those 3 or 4 points, everybody in there. You know what I mean? Like when you talked about Minnesota falling off the case, I went, okay, that could happen. I never thought we'd be talking about Winnipeg falling off.
They were having such a strong season.
Exactly,
Cruz.
and now look at them. That's what I'm saying. What happened to Winnipeg?
Is it just like? Hold on. Do they have any injuries? Like
no.
Dubois day to day. Cole Perfetti's on IR. Appleton's day to day. I mean, those day to day ones should make a big difference. No. Perfetti on IR. That's like you can argue like he was a nice piece.
Very nice piece.
Sure.
But how do you fall that much? Like we're talking.
I think it's just like their depth maybe is being tested, which they maybe do not have.
Well, I'm saying this, okay?
Oh, they got Nemesnikov from San Jose too, whatever.
That could help. It's got to go up. I'm just surprised as how far they have fallen. Okay, so they're saying now that basically through attrition that they're going to probably make it because Calgary's too far behind.
I agree.
I don't think that Calgary can get excuse my language, has got enough to get up there. But when you think about it now, Edmonton's still not. It's technically today
a wild card team.
It's a wild card team. I don't think they're staying there.
I still think they win the division. I stand by that take.
Really?
Yeah, I do. 4 points back, and like all those top 4 in the Pacific, like they're all within 4 points.
Agreed.
And I think Edmonton, especially with those moves that we alluded to before.
Oh yeah.
I want to get back to. Do you have anything else to say about Winnipeg?
No, I'm just disappointed in where they are.
I want to talk about Minnesota then.
Yes, I like Minnesota. I've always been like they've righted the ship, so to speak.
I agree. I mean, I'm not a big fan of some of the moves that Bill Guerin has made.
I don't even know how he got to be general manager.
Probably buddied up with the owner.
Something
usually
went on.
How it goes.
That's what it is. I mean, and he was a solid player in his day.
He was like an AGM, assistant GM in Pittsburgh, was he not, when they won those 2 cups?
Yeah.
There you go.
And he was a great dressing room guy.
I hear, yeah.
Yeah, he was a great dressing room guy. And they say some of the better dressing room guys are the guys that
you want as your managers.
Yeah, like they were doing. And if you look around the league, there's a few of those guys like the Hextalls and all that guys. They were all good dressing room guys. Shanny, they were all good. They were all dressing room guys, and they knew the structure of the teams, so to speak. But
Minnesota, I would say their start of their trade season was a little bit shaky especially when they're just kind of like taking on salary when they're right up against the cap, just getting these low end picks.
I remember you were giving them a hard time about that.
Oh, and I'm getting this from my buddy Stefan, who like for some reason he chose his favorite team as the Minnesota Wild. Don't ask why. This confuses my friends so much.
Was he a breech birth or what happened? Like not enough oxygen.
We think it's just because their color's green and that's his favorite color.
Okay, well, I'll give him that.
Weird choice still.
The thing about
we like to give him shit for that. We love you, Stefan, but weird choice.
Big shout out. I hope to meet you. I
don't know if you'll want to come on the show, but you'll meet him one day.
That's a good thing. Now, here's one of the things that I don't understand about Minnesota. I don't think that they have enough firepower.
Besides the big boy there, Kaprizov?
I love Kaprizov. I love that guy.
Yeah,
I love Spurgeon. I love Spurgeon as a defenseman.
He's a great D.
I love him. I think he's great. But if you look at all the other guys, like who have they got up the middle?
This is
Erickson.
Oh, down the middle, they're weak. Cruz.
That's what I'm saying. Who have they got up the middle?
When Ryan Hartman is your top center, like this guy he was like what on other teams like fourth lines.
Couldn't get ice time. Sometimes he was in the press box.
There you go.
He was a press box guy, but now
they're typical Minnesota mild.
Minnesota mild. What an interesting. I was looking at him because one of the things that I like about them is their goaltending.
Fleury's not having the greatest season.
No,
though.
but Buddy is.
The Gustafson?
Gustafson.
He is. He's been their saving grace this year.
And I think that when the playoffs start, he should be the guy. Isn't Fleury injured right now anyway? Or is he back?
Let's see what
he had nagging injury.
Yeah, they have him as their starter on daily faceoff.
He's starting tonight? I think when the playoffs start, is he going to get his playoff spot because of his experience? I'd rather have Gustav.
I think because of the contract.
Okay, money changes
That's
everything.
the whole reason. Because that was a big controversy with that team last year. Was like Talbot was playing really well for them. All of a sudden they get Fleury not playing so well, but somehow he starts all those playoff games.
No, that's right.
And that kind of pushed Talbot out of town. And like, I can understand why. I'd be fucking pissed too.
Oh yeah.
If like I'm playing good, all of a sudden like Buddy comes in here, takes my job, not even playing good.
Not even playing good. No. But they
could have played that situation a lot better.
I've seen a few games. You look at him. Okay, his goals against average in Gustafsson is .206. That is solid.
That is
solid.
really good.
That's really good. He's won 16 games, and he's won more now lately because he's getting more playing time. If Minnesota's going to do anything, they're going to put Fleury in based on his
contract.
There you go. But I think Gustafsson's been the better goalie, and I think
he could win that job. But I mean, they make some good kind of low end kind of moves, just kind of like fill in the roster. I thought Johansson, they got Gustav Nyquist.
Oh yeah, good old Johansson.
Oscar Sundqvist. They got Klimberg for
Nothing.
super cheap, which I think is pretty good. I think they needed that
character guy. Yeah, and you know what I mean. But who are they projected to play in the first round?
That would be Colorado right now.
Oh, then they're not going to go anywhere.
But there's
too much
that's
jump.
central.
There's
all those
too
teams
much
are
jump.
so close together.
We could be saying something completely different in 2 weeks.
They get something for Jordan Greenway. Mind you, I think they completely bungled the Matthew Dumba situation.
In what way?
His value's tanked.
Oh, 100%.
They should have traded him like a year or two ago.
And then they did.
Now they're going to lose him for nothing in free agency.
That's true. I wonder what he'll get as a contract.
I think he's going to have to sign a kind of like a show me deal. Kind of
like the Monahan thing in Montreal?
Well, I mean, he was already on contract,
but
but I think it's going to be a situation where it's like, he signs a low deal, maybe with like a good team, try and bump up his value, but then he kind of cashes out.
Trade deadline guy
or
year?
He could sign for like a team with a ton of space and just get.
No, I don't. No. He's giving him the bag. Come on.
You never know.
He's still what's his age? 26,
28.
Yeah. No. If he would have been great, he would have been great by now.
Fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't see anybody giving him any money. Let's put him in the Max Pacioretty scheme of things.
I mean, Matt Pacioretty got paid though. He's making $7 million a year.
That was a mistake. You know what I mean? But that was way too much as far as I was concerned. You know what I mean?
Yep. So should we move to Vegas?
Vegas is a very interesting team. They played great last night. That was such an entertaining hockey game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the thing about Vegas that you're going to have to go through Vegas to get to the Stanley Cup Finals. That's what I believe. I think that they're well constructed. They've been that way since day one. Okay? And I
think they played their cards really bad. Their asset management's been really bad. Because they had so much, like that expansion draft, they fleeced everybody.
Oh yeah, of course.
That's all gone. Yeah. That's all gone. And now they're kind of like not exactly hurting. Like they still have all their first rounders, sure, but they're still their prospect pool is like real weak now.
I would not. No. I'm not versed on that to say. I'm not versed enough to say where their depth is and we're going to be.
Well, they traded all their good prospects. That's a problem.
Okay, so now here we are. It's going to be going into the playoffs. And what do they have? They're going to have they're a solid team. Let's put it that way. They're good defensively. Goaltending is okay. They're another team.
Getting Quick will kind of hopefully help.
Oh, that'll back him up. Quick's past his best before date.
Sure.
And he's really turned into.
But I mean, it's better than, Buddy from the minors.
Oh, yeah, and not only that, if you had to come in a playoff game, he's got the experience. He wouldn't be all weirded out and, you put him in, you wouldn't be going. Here's another thing I'm going to say about Vegas, even though I think they're a better team than Carolina. Who is their go-to guy?
It should be Eichel. It's not.
No, it's
not.
That's
what I said. It's not.
Okay. I'm looking at their lineup. Who is their go-to
I think
guy?
Mark Stone was supposed to be, but he's injured.
Okay, and he's not going to have any relevance in the playoffs, I believe, because he's going to have too much time off.
Yeah.
Is he going to come back? He's on IR, isn't he?
I don't know if there's a timetable for his return, to be honest.
Okay, so that's supposed to be your guy? Nah, so who else? I'm looking at their lineup right now. They're not even going to have a 30-goal scorer. In this day and age, in the NHL, you don't have a 30-goal scorer?
No, it's bad. That's bad.
It's very bad. But, I mean, their back end is what's saving them. So, did you see last night? Have you seen them play in their own end and they skate well? They're another of those. They're the atypical team. Like, I can't recognize their first line from their fourth line. Okay, I really can't. But they were out there last night playing. That was a great. Anyone who got to see it, hockey should put games like that on display. Because the other game that I was watching beside it, to tell you the truth, was another big marquee game, which was the Memphis Grizzlies against Denver. Okay,
Didn't live up to the hype. I didn't catch that one.
It was the second time they played. The first time Memphis kicked the shit out of Denver. Now it's a return game. It was tight till the fourth quarter, and then Memphis fell off the cliff, and Denver won by 15 or 12. Whereas the Vegas Devils game went into overtime.
Yep.
So I'm just talking about the quality of the games. Once again, watching side by side, the NHL game turned out to be a better game. However, when you get to the playoffs, I'm thinking if the Jersey were to play Vegas in a 7-game series, I would bet on Jersey. If that were to happen, like say,
I would too.
Say like the gods of hockey said, let's do something completely to wreck everybody, and we're going to put Vegas
1 through 16 like it used to be.
1 through 16. Here we go. They're in the playoffs now. So you got two good gambling centers. That would be good. So the gamblers would just love that because you got Atlantic City and Vegas. What more can you talk about in a thing? But I'm saying in the end, the Stars on Jersey would tip the scale.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They would tip the scale to a point where they would go, this is, how would you say it? They're not going to have the guy to get the goal in the overtime. Like Jack Hughes is going to make some crazy-ass play, win the game. Who's going to make the crazy-ass play on Vegas?
You're hoping a prayer.
Eichel is such a disappointment. I cannot believe, look at this guy. The guy's 6'2", isn't he?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Big boy. He's got hands.
He's got all the tools.
Everything. And he doesn't hit. Invisible. Couldn't find his name.
Yeah, if this continues next year, then I'll give him a little bit of a pass because he's returning. It's been 2 years since he's played. They're resting him a lot.
Oh, you know what?
We'll see.
No. You got to come back. Okay, Jack Hughes had a couple years where he was banged around and did stuff too. Now he's full-time in the lineup, and look what he's doing. He came back last year. Remember, he came back. He had all those injuries, but me of all people, because remember at the beginning of the season, I was not saying anything about Jack Hughes, and I was kind of going,
nice.
No, okay. But, look at his last 40 games last year, and then coming into this season, look where he's at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, here's one of the things that I also jumped on a huge bandwagon about, and especially because I like Dallas a lot, is my boy Robertson did not quite rise up to the stature that he did. Remember I said I thought he was a Rocket Richard candidate?
Oh, that's fallen off quickly.
Wait, no kidding. Because you know what happened is there's the old adage, you better have some extra moves or guys going to lean on you. Mm-hmm. And they lean on him all the time now. They physical him out. Not that he's having a bad season. He's still going to score 40 goals.
He's not even top 5 in goals anymore.
No, I mean, remember the first half of the season, he was looking
he's barely top 10. Wow.
And look at the first 40 games. He was the guy.
He was the world beater.
That's what I was saying. I was pumping his tires every time I could open my mouth. But now I've noticed in the games, I say guys like Tyler Seguin and those guys are playing better hockey than he is right now. You know what I mean? They're
completely opposite because Seguin did not have a great start.
No, but he's playing much better now, so to speak. So I don't know. So who are you calling to come? Anybody else we want to talk about?
Oh well, I mean, we got to talk about the Kings.
Oh, right. I thought we had...
So now that they finally have a goaltender, they made that trade with Columbus to get Korpisalo and Gavrikov. Oh. I say it's on for the Kings.
Oh.
Because their goaltending was killing them early on. I know people are like, Phoenix Copley, they've been waiting since he's been in the lab. His save percentage is under 900. That's going to bite you in the ass in the playoffs.
Every time.
Now he's just got to be the backup. Korpisalo's the guy.
We're good.
They're set.
I'm going to take it one...
And they got good D out of it, too.
I'm going to take it one step further about L.A.
And Gavrikov, you said before he signed an extension. He did not.
Didn't he? I thought he signed a 2-year extension.
Nope.
Not
according to Cap Friendly. Maybe it's they're working it out. I don't know, but
I thought, well, maybe they said it was on the table, was offered. I even think I heard someone mentioning it on Overdrive. Maybe I was wrong, but I would take it out. But
maybe it's just not official yet. Who knows?
Okay, but anyways, I thought those pickups were amazing. For LA, okay. I thought they were there. And here's another thing I'm going to say about LA, which is really weird. You know when we talk about teams falling off because they put too much in and they get the chip and then they got to wait too long? I think that LA now has the right combination of they've kept some of those veterans and they've got enough young guys to go with it. So they're really not a young team, and they've got enough experience.
Yep.
So when it comes to the playoffs, now that they picked up this goaltender, I think they're a real scary playoff team. And now
Rob Blake played this rebuild perfectly.
Oh, he did masterful. And by the way, another guy who was good in the dressing room. Good locker room.
Almost
guy.
a Toronto Maple Leaf, but his wife didn't want to move to Toronto.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're not supposed to talk about women in hockey right now. Remember, I got in trouble with that earlier.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we won't say anything. But anyways, my point...
Sorry, Cruz's sister.
Yeah. Anyways, my point is this. They still got Doughty. And Doughty's playing good hockey again.
And Kopitar.
You know what I mean? And they really brought along, who is this guy, Fiala?
He's always been good.
I've never really noticed him.
He grabbed my attention when he was playing on Nashville those early years.
Yeah, did he? Because I never really.
I always thought he was pretty good.
I've noticed him the last few times in LA.
Skater.
Oh
Great
my
skater.
God, he's an excellent skater. That's what I'm saying. Is and I'm going to give him. I'm putting this all on Mr. Milani in this event. I'm going to put this all on in a good way. Everyone knows I'm a basketball junkie. I love my hockey, but I'm more of I'm a basketball junkie, but I've watched so much hockey now that I'm discovering things that I just don't discover, bro. And one of them, I see this guy skating, I go, where did this guy come from? Then I look and I go, oh yeah, he's been in the league a few years.
Yeah.
And now he's been around. I notice things now because you're watching more games and you turn it up and you go, who is that guy? So I appreciate that, bro. I really, really appreciate that you brought
there we go.
my hockey acumen up on levels that I talk about even on my other I'm known as the old man. Old man, what do you know about hockey? And they're hearing because you watch it more, but what happens is you get to appreciate a guy like this Fiala.
Yeah.
What a great skater he is. He's going to be a guy I think makes a difference in the playoffs. I think LA is about 9 deep. Forwards wise, they're interchangeable a bit.
Yeah.
They're a little interchangeable, but they're big, fast, and strong, which is the component for in the playoffs, right?
Sure.
And when you got Doughty back there as your guy, come on, he's still the man. I don't care what anyone says. He's still the man.
I love Drew Doughty. He's my mom's favorite hockey player too. So
shout out to your mom.
Shout out to my mom.
I seen him play the other night. I seen him play a couple games ago, and I don't think he's missed a step.
No.
The only thing he's missing is that tooth. But outside of that,
he's been without that for a while.
Okay,
so.
You know what I'm saying? But he is so cool, and he's got the Lenny Kravitz pool table. Have you seen that?
No, I have not. That's cool though.
Yeah, he does. Somehow he hooked up buddies with Lenny Kravitz.
When you play in LA,
it's another thing. But I think he's got don't quote me on it, but let's look it up for the next show. But I think he's got a pool table in the shape of a guitar.
Okay, we gotta look into that.
Or does Lenny Kravitz have it? And he's played on it, but I know he's got a Lenny Kravitz connection.
Either way,
and he's a big music guy, and he shows up in a lot of shows in LA, and I don't give a damn about that. I'm looking at Mr.
Well, you're a music guy, so you appreciate that.
100%. Not only that, Doughty is continuing to be a plus player as a defenseman, and even in his plus might have been a little bit whatever, but for the amount of ice time that he plays in LA right now, he gets the
tough matchups too.
And he gets the tough matchups too. So I'm saying he's there. And another guy that surprised me, who is this Druzy guy?
Dursey,
who is he?
He was a Leafs draft pick.
Exactly.
Part of the Muzzin trade.
Yeah, I mean, he's looking good too.
He is good.
He's another guy. Everybody out there, if you know me, look at the names that I'm bringing up. Because I'm watching games, and when I, to tell you the truth, and I meant to text you, when I seen that trade to LA, or maybe I did text you and I said that, what about the Kings?
Yeah.
One of my texts, what about the Kings? Because when I seen this trade, I went, oh, wait a second.
They're looking good all of a sudden. Really good.
They were treading water really, really well.
Yeah.
Okay, they were
despite their goaltending.
Despite that, and you know how we're saying those 3-point differences and all those teams in the West, it could go anywhere now. I think that Blake flicked a switch that says, why can't we go to the finals? Anybody else? You know what I mean?
There you go.
You're going to say it. So
them and Edmonton are really the only teams that went for it. And I mean,
And they both deserve
Yeah.
to get it if they get to play in the conference finals, which I think
Well,
would be...
it's going to be the division final, probably the second round, if anything.
Oh, yeah, because they're together, aren't they?
They're in the same division,
They're in
yeah.
the same division. I hate that nonsense. Let's go back
It's
to
a
the 1 and
stupid
8.
playoff format,
Let's go
yeah.
back to the 1 and 8.
Well,
like
now
it
that
used
the
to-
players are speaking out against it, too, it looks like they're probably going to work that in the next CBA.
Oh, that's a good... Oh, we got to wait that long? Is that what it's going to be? And which the
Well,
CBA
when
is
else-
good. When's the CBA? Is still 3 years until they get there, isn't it?
3 more years of garbage. That's okay.
Oh, you know what I mean? I don't like that. But I'm going to say this much: those teams have to go. Those teams have to go to the conference. I think that would be the best conference finals for me.
You want to just
But they
take this
can't.
conversation right to the Oilers then?
Yes, to our good old Edmonton Oilers. I think the pickup of the defenseman is the key.
Oh, man. He's already looked good.
He's looked amazing. He looked good against Toronto the other night. And guess what? I never thought I would say this, but a key component on their team is that Nurse guy, eh? I don't want to say
not always
it.
in a positive way, though.
Okay, but I'm saying...
Most overpaid player in the league.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, you know what I mean? I think he's overpaid, but I'm saying this much: he's going to be a difference. I guess we're going to have to bring somebody in on a mic pretty soon, don't you think?
Sure.
You know what I mean? If you give us a minute, just wait a second here before we get there. I'm saying that he's the guy. You know what I like about him? He is the guy that's going to do all the dirty work on the team. Nurse.
Yeah. Oh, Nurse.
I think Nurse is going to do all the dirty
He's
work.
also giving the puck away a lot.
But okay, you got to look for him when you come over the line. Like, okay, who else is going to be on their defense? Who else have they got? Oh, they got this guy. I call him Shut Up Cruz. That's why they got him in there. Okay, so he's going to be the number one guy. But
So, yeah, their D pairs right now are Nurse CC, who I'm not a CC guy either.
no, neither am I.
Another former Leaf.
Yeah.
Ekholm, Bouchard, and then
That's a good-
Kulak, Desharnais. I don't know much about Desharnais, to be
I don't know
honest,
nothing
but
about either. The other guy, I've seen him play, but those first four.
Pretty
Those
good.
first, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking Nurse.
You should know Kulak. He's a former Hab.
So what? What do you think we got rid of him?
I'm just saying you should know him.
No, he's no. I was glad we got rid of him. You know what I mean? We got rid of him in the what trade was that anyway?
Was that like what you traded him to Calgary?
Yeah, and then they got him. Then Edmonton got him because he was in the Calgary deal for
I have no idea, to be honest.
who's scoring all the goals for Calgary, but he's not making the playoffs. I'm having a brain fart. Not Tatar's name starts with a T.
Calgary.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Toffoli.
Oh, he was part of that trade?
I think he was part of that trade. I'm not sure, but I'm thinking that he was involved in there or something like that, or a minor trade.
Let's pull up his hockey DB. Let's see what that says.
But I mean, he's nothing. I don't even know why we're talking about him. He's not going to do anything for
Traded from Calgary to Montreal for Matt Taormina and Rinat Valiev, another former Leaf draft pick.
Yep.
Traded from Montreal to Edmonton. So you guys traded him to Edmonton, so I got that a little flipped. And it's whatever. So a bunch of no-name guys there, minor league trades.
But look at the guy. He's playing, 18 minutes a night. But I don't think he's anything of substance. I think that they got the guy from Edmonton, and I'm going to say
I think they did that to bump down his minutes.
Probably because he's out there causing grief. But the bottom line is I'm thinking this is the year that Edmonton has to really go for it. I think if they don't make the conference finals, the season is definitely a wash, even though they're not even...
Well, I think pressure's on for them to make the finals.
Okay,
forget
finals.
conference final.
I think conference finals would be... If they don't make that, their season's a bust.
Well, I agree. But I mean, their goal, they're thinking finals.
Well, McDavid's talking Stanley Cup.
As you should be.
Agreed. But I mean, are they a viable... Stanley Cup finalist?
I think they lose to whoever comes out of the East.
Oh, I do too. I'm going to say that. But you think that they are viable going to the finals?
I told you. I think the West is wide open. It's either
100%.
It's going to be. There's only really 4 teams I can see coming out of the West. Kings, Oilers, Avalanche, Stars.
I'll agree. Those are,
all the other teams I don't see it happening.
No. Unless there's an upset. No, I'm really like that because I'm sold on Dallas. I really think that this is their time.
They got the D and they got the goalies.
And not only that, they got those guys up front that could do things in the playoffs. Like, don't forget, I like Tyler.
Yeah.
I think
Jamie Benn's having a good season too.
Jamie Benn's having a solid thing there too. So I'm saying that'll be our call at the trade deadline that have got there. I can't believe though at times why a team like a couple other teams in the league. This Eichholm guy went to Edmonton. I think he went a little too easy. First of all, I didn't think Nashville was going to be willing to trade him because I thought he was a piece that's
they're going to rebuild.
Obviously. Obviously, but
I mean, they're rebuilt. They're rebuilt off to a good start. They got a lot of draft picks. David Poyle's a retirement gift to Barry Trotz.
Okay,
we'll get to that a little bit later. But I want to talk about. So they give up Tyson Barrie.
Nothing.
Another guy.
Another Leaf.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah. A first and a four. I was never a Tyson Barrie guy here.
They gave up first though too, right?
Yeah,
but that's going to be a high
this year. Yeah, it's going to be 20. It's going to be in the mid to low 20s.
And the way that Edmonton's constructed it, sometimes when it's a time to give up your first, where it's not going to hurt you in the next draft. So this is the time when, like the Toronto too, those kind of teams, to give up the first at this point in time is not a bad thing.
Nope.
You know what I mean?
Not at all.
And it's going to get them over the top because it's time for Connor McDavid to make a final.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
And they made that trade with Arizona to get Nick Bustad as well. I like that.
That's a solid pickup.
He's the guy who can score a lot of goals for you on that bottom on your bottom six.
Oh, and not only that, he's when you watch the Stanley Cup playoffs, and there's always that guy that scores that crazy goal in overtime that you don't expect to do it.
Yes.
He's that
guy that can do that. I agree.
You know what I mean? He's that kind of guy because he's a mucker. He can skate. He's not afraid to go in front of the net. He'll take a hit, give a hit.
Sure.
Those guys, because that's what's happening on a lot of teams. And when you think about it, that could be Carolina. Do they have the guy take a hit, give a hit? Is that going to be Vegas? Do they got the guy that give a hit to take a hit? Well, we haven't even talked about Seattle.
Well, I was going to get to them next. Seattle, I think they're going to be like
first round upset.
They're going to upset someone in the first round.
No, I think they're going to be gone in the first round.
I wouldn't really call that an upset.
Okay. So
I think they're like a
fraud?
First time. I mean, I wouldn't call them a fraud. I mean, they're another one of those teams they're just kind of lacking the goaltending, I would say. Their defense isn't very strong either. And
the lack of experience is, I think, what's going to kill them.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like, hey, thanks for coming by. You made the playoffs. That's night. Go away. Yeah.
Okay. But you know what? I'm impressed with this. Their fan base already.
Oh, I mean, Seattle's sports crazy. That doesn't surprise me at all.
But their fan base. Did you see some of the games when you go out there? Already, the chants in the crowd in the third period.
Cool.
They know. I go, wow. And they're like, this is their second year.
Second year in the league.
Second year in the league, and you hear that fan base, especially in the third period when they need a goal. Even your beloved team and a few other teams in the third period, sometimes you need that little extra from your fans to get up. And I see sometimes Seattle in the third period, they just go freaking crazy. I can't wait. If we seen a Toronto game in Seattle, they're not going to get away with being out-cheered like the other night. Did you hear that? I love that, though. I do admit, even though Are they going to Seattle's part of this road trip? I think they are. They did. They were.
Oh, they already were in Seattle.
They bitch-slapped them. The 5-1 game, they went in and they said this is going to be a great.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
They did them. I didn't hear any great chants there, even though, because that's probably the Vancouver thing, and they're not. But I really get a kick out of it when Montreal or Toronto go out west, and those fans just what do you think of your fan base? And everybody hates.
Well, I mean,
Toronto.
those are the ones you got cash in on. Though you're going to make some bank.
You know what I mean?
These are just regular people, right?
When you're in there and you're talking about it, and I don't know, everybody out west hates Toronto. You go to Edmonton, I hate Toronto. Go to Calgary, I hate Toronto. You go to Vancouver, I hate Toronto. But then when
they'll take our money.
Damn right. But you notice when you go to those games, did you hear, especially during the Edmonton game, the back and forth battle with the fans?
That was cool.
It was. It was just,
cool.
I'm going, that's what sports are all about. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't see the chant so much in the Calgary game because I think the timbre of the game was different.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. In that, there was more on the edge. The game was more on the edge because Edmonton took the game away from Toronto a little too quickly. So it gave a chance for the fans to get all crazy and do their shit. But when this game was on the edge, both teams are there, that was a 1-1, a 2-1 game, I really think that Calgary made it so ugly. They just muck it up. Oh, do they ever? Just take away the flow of the game. You know what I'm saying?
Calgary, I guess we're going to get to them next. So they're not going to make the playoffs.
No, I don't even think they deserve the time of day. I don't even think we deserve to talking about them. Because they fell off.
They lead the league in overtime losses.
That hurts. That hurts. Okay.
And they have the most one-goal losses in the league this year.
Oh, I know that. They're a victim of circumstance, no doubt. But you know what? Good teams find a way to win those games.
Exactly. So I think the coaches passed it best before the date there.
Oh, everything's going wrong in the dressing room. Is he got to retire? Is this his last kick at the can?
I think so. The only reason's there is because the owner there wanted to have him back. Tree Living didn't want him back as coach, apparently.
No, I heard that too. And then some of the cracks he's been making about the players, that's pretty funny. But what's his name?
I mean, he's good for a comment. I'm looking there.
Of course he is. But we were talking about it last week when his agent stuck up for what's his name?
Huberdeau.
I think Huberdeau is going to be a bust unless he gets a new coach or whatever.
Well, which he will.
Okay.
What's his name? What's his name? The agent there. He tends to get his way.
Okay.
Alan Walsh.
Yeah. Okay, he's gonna and he will. And they're gonna get change of coach. But I'm talking about now. There's something in a player. There's the thing that analytics doesn't measure, and that's character. So I get to Huberdeau's character. You got to get up and stand up sometimes. Just because someone, steps on your toes or says your hair wasn't combed straight, you start crying. Give me a break. I don't like those kind of players. You know what I mean? I want moxie. It's one of the things that I'm saying that if you want to get to it, that's one of the problems with the league. Some teams don't win because they just don't have enough character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to have some character with a capital K if you want to go to speak. Because, come on, if you don't have that in the playoffs, where do you go?
Oh, you're out in round one. Well, that was a big problem with Florida.
Well, yeah. Well,
their team was we got to them already, but yeah.
Seattle's going to be like that too. Where's their character? They're not going to have anything to show. And
they're still building. I think it's a little early to judge.
I shouldn't do that, but Vegas is more there. Where's going to be the character on their team?
Yeah,
they're solid as I'm talking about this factor. As good as you are, and as tight as you play defensively, and you're going to have those games where you're going to have the last 10 minutes in that game, someone's got to make a difference. 99 out of 100 times, it's your star or a character player. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not the guy that kills the penalty. It's not the guy that's giving you the minutes on the fourth line. Well, sometimes it is, but it's rarely. It's going to be that character guy. The guy that's on your fourth line is there because of character, whatever. And I'm finding that some of these teams, which makes the NHL not the NBA, is that there's not enough flair. Definitely
not enough flair.
You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, there's flair in the play of the game, though. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm contradicting myself, but, I mean, the actual product on the ice should be enough to sell the game, but the guy doesn't put it on the next level. Like, for example, in the game last night, it still got a little goofy with Memphis, but then John Morant threw down 3 shots to try to keep them in the game.
Yeah.
So he kept you know what I mean? Like, he could do that. But what about the other guys?
It's a good point. I mean, we're already gone over 2 hours, so I think we got to just kind of do like quick hits on the rest of the teams in the West. Fair?
Okay, sounds good to me.
So Nashville, St. Louis, or Nashville going like basically almost full rebuild, basically.
Yep,
getting a lot of good picks in there. Barry Trotz. Looks like he's well set up for the future.
I agree, but here's the thing about St. Louis. Do you tank that easy? Our old saying about you win 1 year and then who gives a shit about the next bunch of years? Is this what St. Louis is doing now?
I guess. I don't know though. They're a strange team.
Very much. They came out of nowhere to win a Stanley Cup, and now they're right
Not
back.
really. That had been building up for like basically a decade, I'd say. Slowly.
Very slowly. Because look at the year when they Stanley Cup, they were out of the playoffs.
They were dead last at New Year's.
New Year's, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm just telling you, they just had the biggest hurt on in the history of hockey.
Well, and they wrote a hot goalie who. He's a hot head, but
a hot head who's a hot goalie. But the bottom line is, it wrote him to Stanley Cup, so they got the chip. Is it worth it?
I mean, I guess.
Where are they going to be in the next 3 or 4 years?
I know they got 3 first-round picks this year, though. So
that's
and what's supposed to be a deep draft, so that could be
okay. So that means those draft picks are all 2 years away.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see though. Where are we next? Coyotes. Canucks already over the salary cap for next year.
Losers.
Oh my God, that team. I'm not even like a Vancouver fan or anything.
They're on the left coast. Did you notice I said left coast?
I did.
Okay, they're on the left coast. Enough said.
But they're just like, the way they run things there is just, it's fucking frustrating as a hockey fan.
Oh, well, you know what? Here's what I say. And this is going to be maybe a little bit off center, off the charts. I think everything about Vancouver is just a mess.
The Canucks, you mean?
No.
They're just the city?
The city itself. Beautiful city, by the way.
I love Vancouver.
Okay, beautiful city.
I love Vancouver.
Everything about the city beside, I haven't been there in 20-some years. And I don't like the left coast. Once I hit Wawa, Ontario, okay, good, come back. Okay, that's as far west as I'm going. But and I'm saying, and maybe it's that permeates the city. You know what I mean? And you have to change the culture. What did Toronto do? Change the culture. Okay, what's LA doing? They're LA, but they still know what to do with their structure to get it on. You know, what
LA's
I mean?
big time.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? Even my beloved keeping tabs on the Habs, we're going to be coming back. We still have that structure to do that, but there's something about
It's going to be a couple years, but you'll be back.
When was the last time Vancouver was relevant as a hockey team? A couple years ago, it looked like they were okay, and then what?
I mean, a couple years ago, it looked like Pedersen and Besser could be like the guys to kind of carry them to the next generation. Just like
what happened?
I still think Pedersen's a really good player. Besser
I think he's a good player too.
Besser never lived up to the hype though. He had that good rookie. He won Rookie of the Year, and then that was it, right?
Yeah. Okay. So and what else do they have?
They have JT Miller, who all of a sudden they signed him to that 8-year extension before he even plays one game under that extension. Hold on, let me finish. Before he even played one game on that contract, they're already looking to ship him out, and everyone's just like, I'm not touching that. Apparently, Pittsburgh is interested, but.
Okay, so what does that tell you about your team? You give a guy an 8 years extension, and then all of a sudden you're thinking about moving him? What does that tell you about the foundation of your team? What is that going to say around the league?
That might have been a previous.
I
think that was a previous regime. In all fairness, that gave him that money, but still, I mean, he's a center that doesn't back check.
Okay,
not a good locker room guy apparently.
Okay, I got you on that.
But he's on the hook for what, like $64 million, I believe. Let's look that up quickly. I believe it was because $8 million per. I believe it was an 8-year deal. I believe he got the max.
Okay.
Okay. I was off. It's a 7-year deal, but still, it's $56 million.
That's still a lot of money.
And they're over the cap for next year.
Oh, so they're done. They're done.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
They're going to be crazy. Okay, so we've been running 2 hours, so we're completely off the charts.
Well, let's go. I want to continue with quick hits. Arizona. So 44 of their cap for next year is going to be LTIR.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
Between LTIR and like dead cap, so like retained salary transactions.
44%?
Yes.
So that means they'll be completely irrelevant again. When is that team? So where's their landing spot? What city?
Well, apparently, hold on. Apparently,
Markham?
There's talk of the new arena getting built. They're going to get one.
I think the problem is that the Phoenix Suns have already got their arena, and they're not letting hockey.
But they're not going to move to Phoenix. It's like a different.
Because the other part of Arizona, like not Scottsdale or whatever they call it down the road, Tempe or wherever.
I heard that was a big problem just in money. I heard that was a big reason why they couldn't maximize the assets back for Chikrin because they couldn't retain salary.
That's right.
In that transaction, which is like.
Yeah, that's
true. It sucks
true
to be a Coyotes fan.
Oh, it got to be. I think the team's got to leave town.
Well, it's rumored now that Gary's saying Atlanta could get another crack at the game.
No. You know why? Because Atlanta's corporate, and they need everything. The fourth thing. They're corporate. They're Coca-Cola. They're Purelator. They're what else? I mean,
Purelator's Canadian. You know that, right?
Yeah, but they're based in then it's not Purelator. FedEx.
Yeah, because Purelator's partly owned by the government or like by Canada Post
or something like that. Yeah, but it says FedEx. That's at Riley though, isn't it?
I don't know.
Carolina.
I don't know. But Atlanta's a big hub for business, though. I know that.
Oh, one of the biggest in America. What? Coca-Cola, CNN.
All the Turner broadcasts.
All the
stuff.
Turner
TNT.
What
TBS,
else?
all that.
But there's another big industry there. Something.
Anyways,
in the textiles. But I don't think they deserve another shot.
I don't think so
they're
either.
not a hockey town.
It failed so miserably last time.
They're a hockey town. You know what they are? They're a strip joint town. That's what they are.
So I've heard.
They're a strip joint town from what I hear. And ask anybody in the NBA about that, and they're going to tell you like that. It's a party town, and it's a good town. And what team is really relevant in Atlanta? The Hawks, please.
The Braves.
Oh, okay. I'll give them that. I'll give them the Braves, and they've come up here now. But I mean, are they really that great of a sports town?
No, they're not.
Okay, they claim to be.
But the problem is, my dad said this because the company he worked for, they had like a base in Atlanta, basically. So he was traveling back and forth. He's like, the problem is like it's like kind of like LA, where it's like no one's from Atlanta.
Exactly.
Exactly. So like in the grassroots there for the sports isn't as strong. That's the problem.
But LA seems to have a little bit more grassroots than Atlanta. Why is
fair?
it?
I think it's just not as big, maybe. as Atlanta. I don't know. It's weird.
Atlanta's
weird.
a big city.
It is big.
Don't get me wrong. That's not a big city.
It's not LA though.
No, but it is another thing. But it definitely does not deserve another hockey team.
Definitely not.
I would not. I would definitely not say there.
Quick hits: Anaheim, San Jose,
Bums.
Chicago. Have fun tanking for the next 5 years.
And they're gonna all one of them's gonna get Bedard in the way that's just the way it's gonna go.
I still think it's going to be Montreal, Vancouver, one of those teams.
Ooh, that's what I say too, only because
Vancouver needs Bedard at this point.
Okay, in any event, hi Pete, you're in the house. You want to sit down for a second before we go? We didn't know you were coming in here. We wouldn't got you in there because we're going to do it either way. But we're going to just do some general takes because the show's gone on too long, and perhaps you're going to get in your two cents here.
That's okay.
Because I've made some.
Thanks.
I
agreed with your point about. Pacioretty. He was crap. He was and he was an American who, as we're talking, it's not. There have been some good American players that have come and played, for Canadian teams. The problem with him was he just didn't care about the C and the H. He was like it was just a hockey team to him. He didn't care, and he would just disappear for months at a time, like another guy who his best friend on the team, Thomas Plekanec, the worst hockey player, a guy who went 2 years without scoring a goal or something. I mean,
I'll take that about Plekanec. I take that back because his two-way play was very necessary. He was a great face-off guy.
I like Plekanec.
Yeah,
I didn't like him. And then
Plekanec. I wouldn't put him in the same. If you talk about the fan base and you say who would the fan base like? Would they like Plekanec or like Pacioretty? That going away. There's no doubt. No doubt about that.
Maybe, but I was never a big Plekanec fan.
That's your opinion. Okay.
He went for quite a while without scoring a goal as well. So.
Okay,
anyway.
Andrew, before we go, I'm just got a few things that I've taken notes of the year that I'm just going to shout out, and you guys
we got
say
like basketball picks, baseball picks. What do we got?
a little touch of everything before we go. Okay.
Okay.
The first thing I want to say is how long is a plan for a team? How many years do you have a plan for a team before it's not a plan anymore? Okay,
2 to 4 years.
Well, it kind of depends on the circumstances too. Don't you? So, give me an example.
Toronto Maple Leafs. Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, it's in your balls in your court now, bro. How long is a plan when it's not a plan?
I told you over text. They got to win the cup these next 2 years. One of these next 2 years.
Okay, so what happens? We're going to do this. Is the last time I'm going to bring it up, and you're going to say it's an abysmal failure.
We've talked about this. I'm not talking about this again.
So my question is, I don't want to. I'm kicking him right now. I'm picking on him.
Yeah,
okay?
no shit.
I'm picking on him. I'm just wanting to know how long is a plan? Is a plan? Okay, so you're going to say 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, I'd say 2 to 4 years, and then after that, you have failed.
Okay, Pete, I also know you're a proponent of believing that one Stanley Cup ring is worth 10 years of missing the playoffs.
Well, it is worth it because it is your goal. Your goal is to win the Stanley Cup.
You've won the Stanley Cup.
Your goal is not just to be mediocre.
Win the Super Bowl.
Hold on, just let me finish. Your goal is not just to be mediocre for a bunch of years and stick money in the pockets of a bunch of fat cats. Your job is to have an end game. Your end game is winning the championship. Now, yes, teams do fall off after that. Some teams are good at just picking up and moving along. They stay good, but your goal is to win a championship in any team sport. That's your goal.
100%. And we're not denying that. We're just my thing is that's why I tied it into how long is a plan? I won't pick on you anymore.
2 to 4 years.
I'll bring it up. I love doing it. I'm just
4 years.
sticking it so hard because it's going to okay. So now,
hold on. I'll say this to your point. Like for a team like St. Louis, where they're like not exactly a major market, the one championship thing makes sense.
That makes sense.
For the Leafs, though, it doesn't. Though I'm sorry, the Leafs have to be. They should be one of the great franchises in the league. It's not about just one.
Yeah. They should be making the playoffs 8 out of every 10 years.
And they should be making. I think if they don't win
the Stanley Cup 3 or 4 times, they should be making the Stanley Cup final 3 or 4 times a decade. They should be doing that.
Okay, so
that's
now
what they should be doing.
My second take is this: is Gary Bettman really good for the NHL? I'm gonna tell you why. Is Gary Bettman good for the NHL? He's put more money in the pockets of owners than any commissioner in the history. He's probably put more money in the pockets, more than football came up, but he's put more money in pockets than the NBA and even Major League Baseball, they say. He's done that. So my saying, is he good for hockey? No, I'm going to say this why. Seems like Gary Bettman's more concerned with small market teams than big market teams.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I 100% agree with. I alluded to that before.
I disagree with that. I think what he is interested in is keeping a U.S. TV broadcast deal. To keep a U.S.
He's got it.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is to keep that going, because what you need to do is you need to have teams in certain places. You need to have certain geographical locations covered. You need to have a team. You need to have a team in Phoenix, which is useless.
That's a big market.
They're a big market, but they're
Huge
a crap
market.
team. They haven't done anything, and nobody knows whether the people will ever catch on to this team. You need to be in a place in some, like for example, St. Louis, Missouri. You might know they have a long history of professional hockey. Even before the St. Louis Blues, it was only during the Depression where the team in Philadelphia and the team in St. Louis fell simply because of economic pressures. So they have a long history, and hockey belongs in those places. But in other places, like you're saying, like you're talking about down in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, it doesn't belong in Atlanta,
well,
Georgia.
wait. Here's my point. And I think Andrew did allude there, and he's going to come along with me on this, is that I'm saying the reason that I think that Bettman is going there because he gets small market teams is because how do you market it? This is why the NBA is better marketed. If you hear the Memphis Grizzlies right now, they're pissed. They say everyone hates them. Well, they couldn't get a game. They suddenly got John Morant, and they started winning, and all of a sudden they get on Sunday. Yeah. If it wasn't for John Morant, they couldn't get on. Okay, because they couldn't give a damn because they're going to go with the Lakers, Celtics, Sixers, and everything. I don't think the NHL thinks that way enough.
No.
You know what I mean? So what's going to happen now is I think it'll be an abysmal failure for the league if, say, the finals is Carolina and
Phoenix or something.
No, they're not there. But let's say Carolina and
Minnesota.
Yeah.
If those two teams make the finals for the NHL, what do you think that's going to be for a marketing point?
Oh, that's record low ratings.
Yeah.
Okay, so but look what he'll do for those individual owners.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So you think is Bettman good, bad, or ugly for the league?
Bad.
I think he's all three.
Thank you.
He's bad because I'll say he's bad because the thing is he doesn't obviously, as a Canadian fan, there are markets up here that can there's one market up here specifically that could have a team, and now that it has a big 22,000 seat arena, which is modern in Quebec, they could put a team in Quebec, and that team would be a license to print money.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Arizona should go there. We know that.
That's right. That's
no,
right.
Quebec, it's not going to work.
No.
Politics.
And the too small of a market.
No, it's not.
There wasn't a
They would
TV
make
contract
tons of
that killed
money.
it last time.
No,
No,
Coca-Cola
it
came in
wasn't.
and stole the team. Pepsi came in and just stole the team.
But it was.
They were making money. If you go back to the big rivalry with Habs.
Yeah, with the Habs.
No, they were making money.
The problem was the Colisée. The Colisée was the smallest arena in the league. It only seated 12,000. So they could never do enough. They were not going to build a new arena. Now they have a 22,000 seat arena in Quebec, and that would be a license to print money.
The problem with this is
that they
this
don't want
is
to
not
send it
hockey
there.
related. I agree with you saying they got the 22,000 seat arena. They got the fan base.
Right.
They're going to do it. Like Andrew, they would do it. You weren't around in the Quebec days. You're too young
he's
to
too
really
young to
realize
remember.
what's going on in Quebec.
Yeah.
They're going to do it.
No,
Oh, yeah, they were two when I moved. I was two when they moved.
Yeah,
Okay, so you would know. But here's the real
the
problem.
The 80s, they were awesome.
No, but here's the real problem with Quebec. Yeah. And it's a problem with Quebec on everything. It's the politics and the corruption. The reason the Nordics are in a town is not because of the fan base. It's because those guys were all backdooring deals. They were trying to make a backdoor deals with the politicians in there. And it was like okay, let's put it this way. There was a bunch of trout.
Yes.
All coming in to try to get the one worm.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, a shark came up behind them, ate all the fish and the worm, and went straight to Colorado.
That's right. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So I'm just saying, Bettman, good, bad, or ugly. Let's hope for a team in Quebec, even though I hate them more.
I don't think it's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen. I agree, it's not going to happen. But it's not going to happen simply because Bettman. And that's why I was talking about the American television deal in terms of U.S. ratings, U.S. audience. A team. any team in Canada doesn't really matter simply because the ratings of Canadian teams or whatever do not matter in the United States. It doesn't matter. So
We know that.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. It's simply because okay, you could put up a team up there, they make money, but the ratings don't matter in the United States. It just doesn't matter down there. And what Gary Bettman is looking to do is he's always looking to strengthen or in some way enhance his television deal down there to make sure he's got enough teams in enough places that the networks will continue to be
ESPN is
interested.
not going to be happy. Did you
Yeah.
hear Mr. Milani, what he said?
What?
ESPN is not going to be happy if the finals are Carolina and
You're right.
Minnesota. Okay?
Yeah, that's right. No,
well,
that's
anyways, we'll
good.
go on. We
That's
don't have a
good.
lot of
Yeah.
time. I've got another quick take in.
I agree with that.
Okay, the next thing I want to talk about, if you don't have a number one defenseman, go-to guy on your team, can you win the Stanley Cup?
You can. Pittsburgh did it 3 times.
They had Letang.
He's not that guy. He's good.
They had,
So he's
they had a great goalie.
He never
They
made
had
Team Canada.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. They had a great. Yeah. They had a great.
That's a good take, bro.
Everything else has to be going your way, though. It's I mean, you're playing on hard mode, but you can do it.
You
they
can
have,
do it?
They,
I
they
think
have
it's
great
possible.
scoring.
So that means I'm picking on your Leafs.
I know you're
again.
picking. I know you're picking on number 44 specifically.
I never brought up a name.
I know. I've been with you long enough to know what you're
They
thinking.
have.
was
They
just
had
throwing
great
it out
scoring.
there.
Pittsburgh had great scoring, and they had a phenomenal goalie, and so that got them through. Right? They had phenomenal scoring.
If you don't
and a
have
phenomenal goalie.
agreed, but if you don't have key defensemen, you cannot win the Stanley Cup. Every team has proven it. Like
But he
with the
said.
six big.
He said they just
your
did.
theory.
He said they just did.
No. He's saying. I'm saying. I'm saying. Can you not win with the number one defense? He's saying yes, you can
Yes, you can.
because with the 6 guys.
Yeah.
Okay. My next thing is, do you think that they baby the baseball arms too much now? As we're in spring training, do you think they baby pitchers' arms too much?
I would say no, because like what these guys are doing with their breaking ball now.
Well,
we're gonna fight.
Well, the thing is, players.
gonna
Well, the
fight.
thing is,
A lot of
pitchers-
stress you're putting on those elbows.
Pitchers,
Okay, with the
pitchers were always big and strong, but nowadays with the type of weight training and everything, and the type of strength they're using, the more you pitch is the more you're going to get in trouble. So you're right. You're right from a standpoint of baseball. Should they pitch another 25, 30 pitches? Yes. But it's better to preserve them because of the amount of money you are
I want
investing
the
in these
chip.
guys.
What about your theory about the chip?
Oh, I
I'm
agree
going
with that.
all
No,
in
I
for the
agree with that.
championship. No,
I
no, no.
agree with that.
Okay, hold
I
on.
agree with
Hold
that.
on.
But
Here's
is it
my.
worth it if your guy's arms falls off?
Wait
Yeah.
a second here. I think the game has changed this much.
Yes.
Tommy John surgery when I was a kid might cost you your career. Now Tommy John surgery is a rite of passage.
Rite of
Yeah,
passage.
guys
Yeah.
get multiple.
Come on. Okay, so my take on it is this. My take on it is and we're going to have a subject on this. Everybody's gone too soft. We had 8 guys pitched, well, not even 8 guys pitched 200
200,
innings,
yeah.
and you're going to get $40 million a year at 200 innings. That's complete bullshit.
But you see, you got to look at it the other way. They're paying them this money. They don't want those arms to. They don't want those arms to tear out. When you're paying that kind of money, you have to preserve that investment.
What if
as
you're
much
not
as you
using
can.
your arm enough to build up the muscle? So maybe if you pitched an extra 50 innings, you grow something on your arm every
Dr. Cruz.
Yeah, so there's the other
Well-
argument. What if you use it more? Some
Well,
pitchers
we
say
would have to
then
talk
you'd have
to a
a stronger
doctor.
arm than going. If Manoah doesn't
We'll
pitch...
see. I think we need to get a sports
Yeah,
science
then-
person to
then
have
you
this
need-
conversation.
okay, then
I don't
you
think
need
we
a
can do this
doctor
one
to say
justice.
that.
I heard this the other day, and you know who I'm starting to really can't stand is J.J. Redick. Jay Williams is right up there. If you listen to these guys talk, they're always pro players. You know what he's trying to say?
What?
Because when
What
you
is he
switch
trying
on
Of course
defense
he's
more,
pro player.
well, too much. He's saying now what? Oh, we switch more. There's no big man. There's no posting up. The game's
no,
got to go
that's
faster.
true. That's
so the players
true.
will move their bodies more.
Yeah, that's true.
Better nutrition, better workout,
Yeah.
better cardio guy, private planes, got your own guys.
But you're
Stop
talking
it.
about basketball.
They're all weak.
No, but if
oh,
you,
no,
but if
into
you-
hockey too.
Oh, you're talking about no.
Hockey's
But
too,
you were
hockey's
you were
more.
talking about basketball. You were just let me talk about that. I do not enjoy from the viewpoint of entertainment. Excuse me. I do not enjoy basketball today simply because it's too much dominated by threes. Oh, they're gonna shoot. They're gonna shoot 20 threes. No. I want to see you kick it in. I want to see you kick it inside. I want to see the big man work. I want to see you kick it. I want to see sky hooks. I want to see driving up the lane, which you do see. You do see guys driving the lane. I want to see guys outside jumpers. I want to see a full game.
But the millennials are going to say the game isn't going fast enough.
No, basketball is not just about. It is not just end-to-end action. It is also action in the paint. In the paint, going hard in the paint, having a good pick and roll. That's all a part of the strategy of basketball, and I want to see that. I want to see
gone.
That.
It's gone.
I understand that.
It's gone.
But
so my theory
I'm not watching basketball because of that.
I love it. But we're all going to watch the tournament. It's going to be better.
Yeah.
My point is this, because we got to go soon. My point is this: if everything has gotten better in time, why do athletes do less? Let's just pause on that thought, and we'll have that on another show.
That's a very good question.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Why is it? You know what I'm saying, Andrew? We'll have
the players have more power.
Oh,
players
we're okay.
And you're
note,
paying
Mr. Mullaney,
people more money.
You're
paying guys more money. So therefore,
okay. Before we go,
do you have any more? How many more do you have?
I got two more quick takes. Okay. One of the things is I want to say this is social justice engineering wrecking the sport.
It is wrecking it. It is wrecking it because the thing is, someone who might not be as good an athlete, who might not be as good as what they do, all of a sudden becomes someone's hero just because just because they may be gay, or just because they take a stance on something, or just because they're in a certain region of a country where people are more conservative or more left wing, and he gets a groundswell of support simply because he's in a place where everybody thinks like him.
I think
or
that
whatever,
should have no part
whatever
of the
it
game.
is. Yeah,
in my opinion,
it shouldn't have any part of it.
It's all just PR.
Yeah, it is. It's all just PR.
Well, it's like, and we have.
Is it wrecking the game though?
It's wrecking it.
I don't see how.
It is.
How?
You look at how women's sport has developed, and you look at a lot of the nonsensical arguments that female sports teams and female athletes are making, like a lot of these national soccer teams who are saying, okay, you know what, the men's national team made it to the World Cup, but but like the Canadian women's team actually won the Olympics, and now they want to now they think that they deserve to get equal pay to a men's team,
okay,
which is playing in a tournament.
Wait.
Let me finish.
No, you're wrong.
No, let me finish. Let me finish. Now they think that they should get equal pay to a men's team, which is playing in a men's tournament, which makes tons much more money than theirs does. You make money in sport depending on how good you are, depending on what league you play in, because certain leagues
you already
don't
blew it.
have
I'm going to
that.
tell you, Pete, where you blew it. You already blew it. I'm going to blow this. You said national team. We're not talking about professional sports leagues here. That's a whole new ball game. If you're playing for your country, the woman should get the same as the man. Don't you agree, Andrew?
No,
no. First of all, look at Canada alone.
Yeah.
Okay, our Olympic team almost won the gold. We qualify for every
World Cup.
No, they won the gold. They won the gold.
Not only we won the gold, we qualify for every World Cup.
That's right.
We're a leading contender in the team. That's national.
How much?
Wait. That's national. Just like when you have a national gymnast.
Yeah.
That's when you have a national figure skater.
Right.
When you're talking about representing the country, everybody's equal. Don't you agree, Andrew?
I agree.
100%. Now, wait, Pete. I let you have your word. I'm saying when it's on a national level, whatever the girls get, the guys get. When you see those gyms in there, they should. No. This is national. You have to think about country now. We're not talking about the WNBA and the NBA, because the NBA generates so much money that they can help to fuel the WNBA. So on that level, it's completely different, because if the girls can't generate the commerce, then you don't get the money. I agree. But when it comes to a national sport and representing your country, it's equal. If it's a gorilla that's driving my basketball team, that gorilla gets us. Do you agree, Andrew?
I do.
I'm adamant about that. That's when you get equality in there. You must treat everybody. If you're if the maple leaf is going on your chest, everybody's equal.
So let me counter that. When the women play in the World Cup, they're playing for their country, right?
No.
Yeah, they are. No,
that's a World Cup. That's a different thing. That's a league. Professional.
No, hold on a second. The World Cup of soccer is not a league. It is national teams playing against national teams. So it's not Inter Milan playing against
Then
Genoa.
they should get the money. As soon as it's country. No. If it says
all
country.
right. But when you have a women's World Cup and a men's World Cup, which one generates more money? Which one is watched by more people?
Of
the
course.
men? Well, of course. So the men
course.
should make more money in terms of bonuses, in terms of per goal, in terms of because more people are watching them play. It's a different thing.
No. Does Messi get more money than the end of the guy in the bench in Argentina when he's playing nationally?
He may.
No.
He may.
No.
He may.
No.
We don't know.
Andrew, you're a soccer guy.
We don't know about
I don't know
that.
too much about
we
that.
don't.
I
We
mean,
don't
it might be-
know.
Okay, hold
we
on,
don't
hold
know
on,
that.
Albert. Okay, we don't know what goes on behind the doors.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the table, when it's coming to national teams, when it comes to a team, as soon as you put the flag on your chest, I don't
It should
care.
be everyone being equal. I'm with you there.
Oh yeah,
But
it should be.
but a man's
Isn't it-
World Cup makes more money than a woman's World Cup. It is as simple as that.
I'm the
Way
guy
more.
that gets in trouble for gender. And look at we bring
It's
this
not
guy
gender anything.
But like,
it is economics. It's not
but
gender.
Don't you, well, hold on though. But don't you think it's ridiculous that like these executives at Soccer Canada, they're all giving themselves these huge bonuses, these huge pay
they
raises,
shouldn't
and nothing
get that.
for the players.
No, they should. No,
But that's what
wrong.
happened.
Okay,
That's what happened.
wrong. That is wrong. That is wrong. But what? And I was not. And I'm not going against that. I am saying when it comes to a World Cup, a World Cup, even though you're putting the maple leaf on your chest or whatever, a man's World Cup generates much more money than a woman's World Cup.
But
It is
I mean,
that simple.
Sure, but I mean, you should be distributing that like evenly throughout your
No.
foundation. Yes,
No,
you should.
no,
if you
no,
want,
no,
no,
no.
if you want, if you want a successful
Pete, are
It
you
is
soccer,
a
crazy?
man's. No,
No.
no way.
What is this? James Brown? It's a man's world.
No, that's
but
not
it's
the
better
point.
with a woman or a girl.
No, that's not the point.
You're-
the point
you're
is the
borderline,
men's World Cup.
and I'm no
the
way.
men's
We
World
know
Cup
that.
makes more money.
So
okay, so if
what?
it makes more
Yeah,
money,
then you distribute it on a national level.
I think you got to build up your soccer program evenly.
I think
men
you
and
do.
women.
Yes.
You got to build it up, but the men generate more money, so you're going to focus more investment in them than you would in the women. It is.
Guy
Yes, it
Lafleur
is.
scored more goals than Bob Gainey.
Yes.
Do you think Bob Gainey was just as important as Guy Lafleur?
He was, but
Okay, so
yeah,
that's
but
what
Guy
I'm gonna say.
Lafleur made more money.
Oh,
But Guy
no,
Lafleur
no,
was paid
Gainey
higher.
made more, but,
No,
okay, I'll
Guy
give you
Lafleur
that.
was paid more money.
The bottom line, yeah, because that's a professional sport.
Okay, well, so you just made your point.
Now,
Just
when
made
we
my
got
point.
down to when we talk
This is
about
down
when
for-
Wickenheiser and all the girls sing, all
Yeah.
the girls got played the same. So that's what I'm saying is you can't. We're borderline. This is the problem with the world today. That's borderline misogynistic.
No,
what
it's
you're
not
talking-
misogynistic. It's economic.
But
It is economic. If a tournament if a league that I'm playing in, whatever league it is, or a tournament
That's
I'm
league.
playing in,
When you're talking national sports,
okay,
bro.
then let's talk a tournament. If a tournament that I'm playing in is watched by more people and generates 850 million, or let's say $2 billion more than yours is, then my tournament will get more investment, and the people in my tournament will get paid more, and they're also going to get bigger.
That's called
they're
Major
also-
League Hockey.
No,
That's
no,
called
no, no, no,
NBA.
no,
We're talking national now.
I'm saying
National.
that. I'm saying that the men's World Cup generates much more advertising, much more revenue than a women's World Cup. That is a fact.
We got that.
We
But
got
like,
that.
fact.
You
Okay,
can't-
so
you
there
But
you
if
can't
you
go.
want,
like
but
that.
if you want a good national sport federation, I'm sorry, but you got to distribute them
To a certain extent. To a certain extent.
No,
But
not
it's-
to a
but
certain
now-
I'm going to
extent.
kill
To a
you.
certain
I'm
extent.
going to kill
When
you
the
right here.
men's-
Okay,
That's
I'm
not-
going
I
to
don't
kill
think
you.
that's a smart
To a
way to
certain
Okay,
run
wait,
your
hold on.
national
Okay,
team.
hold on,
To a
because we got to go
certain
quick.
extent.
Pete, stop for a second. I'm going to equate it this way, and it's a different thing, but it's still, we're talking national, right? Let's go to college sports.
Sure.
What makes more money, the Alabama football team or the Alabama swim team?
The football team.
Okay,
And-
so guess what happens? Because the football team makes that much money, they can distribute it now that Alabama is a number one basketball team in the tournament going
they
in.
do,
Because
to a certain
why?
extent.
Because they treat all the sports equally.
No, but football's
Now,
still number one.
Of course,
and that's
but no,
why,
buddy,
and that's
you're
why,
missing the point.
And that's
You're
what
missing the point.
generates, and that's what drives
Okay, well,
Alabama's sports program is driven by the football team. So the football team is the priority. Okay. Now the other programs do get good money because it makes sense to have good women's. Look, I'm a huge
It
Laval.
says it on national, so it doesn't make sense
hold on a
nationally.
second.
You
Hold on
got
a
to be
second.
one or the other.
No,
You
hold
know
on
what
a
we're
second.
saying, Andrew?
I'm a huge Laval Rouge et Or fan.
Okay.
A huge Laval Rouge et Or fan. But the Laval Rouge et Or football team drives their sports programs.
Okay.
And so therefore you have to put that as numero uno so that you're going to get all that.
Okay, so we're getting back.
There you
There's
go.
one more quick thing I wanted to say, Andrew, and I want to bring this up.
Sure.
What do you think?
Sure.
How do you think football teams should handle their franchise tags?
Man.
Save
I
that
think
for
we- I think
another
we gotta
day.
save that for
What
next
is
week.
a franchise tag specifically?
Okay, Daniel Jones says that he wants $45 million a year as a quarterback for the New York Giants. I think you're absolutely nuts.
You're
to pay
crazy
him that,
to pay
okay?
him that,
Hold
yeah.
on. So they're going to have to franchise him now.
Oh, the franchise
So
player
when
tag.
what happens
Oh,
a franchise
okay, no.
tag is, where do you use your franchise
Yeah,
tag?
right. Okay.
If Baltimore
Gotcha.
puts a franchise tag on Lamar Jackson,
Which they will.
he's out of town.
Yeah, he's going.
He's out of town.
Yeah.
Okay, in any event, Pete, we didn't know you were coming
No,
again today. In the
thank
near
you.
future, we're going to make a show where
Yes.
we're going to, you well in advance. You got here at the correct
Yes,
time. We'll
sorry
definitely
about that.
bring you in
I
and
was
all the
late 'cause
time.
of the snow and all
Oh,
that.
no,
But
that-
but
we
that's
weren't-
no
we-
excuse. It's no
Oh,
excuse.
anyway, we weren't sure that you were even going to be here. What
Yeah.
we were saying is that in the future, we're going to make a plan so that you
Yes.
will be here,
Yes.
and we'll get it on there because this show
Thank
ran
you.
way too long.
Yes, it did.
But-
Almost 3 hours.
Oh
But
my
I am,
God,
but
who's
I am
gonna
very
listen to us for
happy
3
that I
hours?
was
Oh,
here,
it's all
guys.
about time spent listening. TSL.
Thank you very much for having me. I
Oh, no
appreciate
problem,
it.
no problem.
I
We will
appreciate
again.
it.
We'll do
Really
it on a more
appreciate it.
organized event.
Thank
In
you.
any event, this is the longest show in the history of the house that happens. We're going to broadcast from Australia to Antarctica, so everyone will hear us. Hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
Thanks for listening. It was a great show, bro. Good talking to you. Get out of here.